full council meeting. Fabulous. And welcome everyone to watching online as well. And just a reminder to everyone to speak clearly. Please, if you have acronyms, to spell out what the acronyms are. And we rise so that people at home can see who's talking. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Lovely. So first participation, please. Do we have Mr. Simon Loader? Thank you, Mr. Simon Loader. Please approach the table. Approach the table. There's a mic. Oh, do I have my timers? Sorry, thank you. Thank you very much, Simon. So you want to talk to us about animal welfare?
Well, it's animal husbandry.
Oh, lovely. Okay, that's great. So just to remind you, so we have a three. Yeah, you know all this. Lovely. Oh, actually, no. Let's wait. You get a full on.
I'm going to go.
Just to be fair, lovely. Thank you, Simon. Tell us.
Yes, it's something that's been happening in Glastonbury for quite a few years now. I don't live in Glastonbury, I live in Street, but I frequent the road coming through to Shepton Mallet. I used to farm sheep and cattle. And I see there's a lot of sheep on, is it Wirral Hill?
Wirral Hill, yes.
And the state of some of the things that go on there, say I was a sheep, I would be embarrassed. I've had to report stuff to the RSPCA myself.
Good.
I work for this big firm, Clark's. A lot of people talk about it there. I'm on social media. There is a lot of stuff on social media you see about them sheep. I have witnessed, fly strike on the animals there, which is basically maggots. You know, flies lay the eggs, maggots eat the sheep. I think the owners of the sheep don't own the land. I think they come from Yatton.
Yep. Yeah.
I've seen it at Sedgemoor Market myself.
Yeah.
I personally think is old boners or old killing ewes that are put there, put to the ram and just left their own devices.
Yep.
I don't know what you can do as a council. I don't know who the landowner is, whether a letter could be a stiff letter, could be.
Yes, we do.
You know, I don't know what you lot think. A fortnight ago, I saw about the social media, because obviously the person, there was some comments. I put a comment. I've got to be a bit careful because certain things. The person I think that owns the sheep commented it, but obviously didn't want it to come. They were the owner of the sheep, saying that it was rams. Next day you've got that. I've never seen rams give birth. It's for conservation grazing. Sheep eating brambles? No. Usually they wrap themselves in the brambles, and someone's got, you know, I've seen it down at Coral Hill at Compton. A fortnight ago I came by. I don't like looking because I can see so many problems. There was a ewe with a spoon in her. And when I say a spoon, not a spoon for eating porridge in the morning, it's when they prolapse. And it is, sorry, but when I've had ewes that have prolapsed, I will keep them close to home. That is a prominent position on the A39 361. You know, a lot of people go, oh, lovely sheep. But being an ex-sheep farmer, I think that's horrific. And I feel very strongly about it. You know, I don't like to grass on people. That's not what farmers usually do. But I'm an ex-farmer now, so I can do it, I feel a bit more. But they should, in my mind, take a bit more responsibility. You know, like I say, I work for Clark's. A lot of people from Glastonbury work in Clark's. We all talk. And I say, I'm going to the meeting. No, it's probably not. I don't know what you can do. But, them, excuse the language, bloody things. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for Glastonbury. No. For those in the know. No. So that's my views,
thank you,
and I would like to bring it to your attention.
No, great. An interest so I live at the bottom. I know the problem you're saying. I've seen it loads. Yeah. I know people have reported it. We do know who the owner of the land is.
We do know who the owner is.
And we do know, and it's funny, at the beginning of my council, it's like, I'm going to do something about that, and everything has just slipped. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think actually a letter. Thank you very much for bringing it to our attention.
Yeah, that would work, I think.
Okay, yes, noted. Thank you very much. Right, next we have Claire Varney. Do we have Claire Varney here? I don't think I can see a Claire Varney. No. Right, Claire Varney was going to talk about Palestine or some kind of anti-war. No. Oh, no. No Claire Varney. Okay. Well, if they do come, we can slip them in. So, sorry if I've pronounced this wrong. Sosifa. Go on, tell me. Thank you. How do you pronounce that?
Sosa.
Sosa. Wow. Okay, great. Yes, thank you. They're not here either, no? Okay, if they... Yep, no, that's fine. Fabulous, then you're next. Thank you. Yes, Ark Redwood, to talk about the plant-based treaty. And I think you're going in twos, aren't you?
Pardon?
Are you taking it half and half, or? No? Okay, great. Okay, yours for 3.
Okay. So, Glastonbury has a reputation for being unique, for radical ideas and for supporting progressive causes. Now is the time for you as a council to prove it. Since the last time you voted on this issue, when you lost the chance to become the first town in Britain to endorse the treaty, other councils have done so globally, including Haywards Heath, Edinburgh, Amsterdam, Exmouth, Los Angeles, Lambeth and Norwich. The plant-based treaty was launched at the COP26 conference in Glasgow with the aim of alleviating global heating by reducing greenhouse gas emissions from animal agriculture. The goal is to give this proposal publicity through an international campaign to encourage councils and governments around the world to endorse the proposals. For too long, the animal agriculture agribusiness has been happy to hide behind the headlines while the focus has been on the consumption of fossil fuels, transport and energy use. While they are hiding away from public scrutiny, they are continuing to tear down and burn vast areas in the Amazon rainforest to clear the way for cattle ranching and soya plantations almost exclusively destined for animal feed. It is estimated that every year a forest the size of Wales is cleared, never to return. The second biggest rainforest in the Congo is now firmly in their sights. This state of affairs cannot be allowed to continue, and firm action has to be taken to stand up to these agribusinesses. The aims of the treaty call for an end to the expansion of animal agriculture, the promotion of a shift towards truly sustainable plant-based diets, and an effort to reforest and rewild planet Earth. I'm sure this council would perhaps agree that these 3 aims are laudable, worthwhile and achievable. You now have the opportunity to vote to endorse this treaty and join the growing number of councils and cities who truly are radical and progressive, as Glastonbury often purports to be. So please, be brave, listen to your hearts, consider the lives of the 70 billion land animals and an estimated 2 trillion fish and marine animals who are slaughtered every year, whose lives are tragically cut short before their time. Stand up to the beef barons and factory farming system and vote to endorse the plant-based treaty. The question you should ask yourselves is not just why you would endorse this treaty, but rather why would you not?
Thank you very much, Ark. Can I just, where are we on this around the table? Has information been given about this? Because we have received lots of emails, but I don't think we've actually discussed it. No. Okay, thank you, Ark. Thank you. Lastly, we have Alan White talking about Fisher's Hill. I don't think we do have Alan White, do we? Gosh, is it 2 coming a day?
Not coming to that.
I've got Craig from the market, yes, but he's not down. You're not down to speak, are you, Craig? No. No? Matt, you're not? No? Okay. All right then. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll now go forward into the main body of the meeting. First, we'll light the candle. May I ask, Simon, as you're close? Yeah, I know, you've got another duty now.
Light the candle.
Open the gate, yep, and light the candle. Oh, it is open, thank you very much. And then we stand up for a silent minute, please, as we contemplate or pray. How will you feel? Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Right, thank you. Do we have any apologies for absence, please? Connor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have had apologies from Councillor Henderson and Somerset Councillor Hart.
Fabulous, thank you very much. Oh. Thank you, that's Councillor McDougall. Thank you. Declarations of interest others than that have already been stated. Yes.
Parish Council.
Thank you very much, Councillor Napper. Fabulous. We can move on to agreeing the minutes of the last meeting.
Thank you, Your Worship. I will project them. They were circulated in advance of the meeting.
Of course. I think most people seem to actually have them in front of them. So yes, we'll go page 76. I wasn't actually at the last meeting. Sorry, page 77. Page 78. Uh, 79. Sorry if I'm a bit slow, I'm actually trying to catch up. Oh, thank you, page 79, yes.
There's a grant for a Ford Haven. Wasn't that linked in with the Scouts? I thought we'd resolved that would be passed to the youth committee.
Are you talking about item 244A?
Yes. Point of order, can councillors remember to stand, Your Worship?
Thank you, Councillor.
Just
Yes.
on that, Your Worship, this is actually the section of the minutes that is reporting decisions of delegated committees. So that is actually the decision of the youth committee.
Apologies.
Yep.
It wasn't a decision for council.
Can I just ask one on page 78, please?
Of
The 242, second part, public toilets.
Yes.
What happened with those? So we were going to arrange a sort of interim operation.
Thank you.
So, yes, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Give an update on St John's public toilets. In my months of discussions with Somerset Council, the arrangement was always going to be that the towns would pay into the existing ID Verdi contract to ensure that service provision, there wasn't a gap whilst Somerset Council didn't wish to pay for that anymore, can't afford to pay for that anymore, that we would pay into an existing contract with all of the parameters already there, and we'd have a service level agreement with Somerset Council. Quite late in the stage of having discussions about that set of public toilets, Somerset Council changed their mind. They served notice on the ID Verdi contract, and then it was left for all the towns and parishes that had a set of public toilets to organise their own contractor for opening, cleaning, closing, etc. Now, the arrangement is slightly complicated because Somerset Council still owns the set of toilets. They didn't want towns and parishes just to instruct a contractor themselves. They wanted us to instruct a contractor to be paid by Somerset Council, and then we would be invoiced for the exact same amount by Somerset Council to pay for that contractor. So they changed their mind at quite a late stage. This council resolved to delegate to me to find a contractor at the last meeting. The week after the last meeting, I had to go up to Scotland for a family funeral, and since then there's only been a couple of weeks. I haven't been provided the parameters of the previous ID Verdi contract by Somerset Council, so in going to ask contractors to come and open, close and clean, they've asked me numerous detailed questions about the level of service that was previously in place for the toilets, none of which I was actually able to answer. So I asked Somerset Council for a copy of the spec for how St John's public toilets have been cleaned. I haven't been provided that. I've also gone to ID Verdi, who used to open, clean and close the toilets, to ask them how much they would charge Glastonbury Town Council to have our own contract through Somerset Council. The contract manager for the Mendip area has taken my query but has not come back to me with a price. So as yet, because Somerset Council also do not want us to open, close and clean the toilets ourselves because we don't own them, they would prefer that we had this arrangement with a contractor. I've been stuck in a bit of limbo trying to get a contractor in to open, clean and close them. So I continue to try and do that, but I have not been able to get a company to, one, give me a price, to then two, be able to instruct them to keep that set of public toilets open. So I continue to work on it, but I haven't managed to get a contractor in yet. And that's because Somerset Council did a bit of a pivot very late in the day, which then put all the towns and parishes on the back foot. I do recognise that in street, ID Verdi are looking after their set of public toilets already. I don't know why they got a much quicker answer than I did, but I continue to try, as I say, to get a contractor in to open them. They will be open as soon as possible. I would love to be a magician. I'll work on it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd just like to thank the clerk for all his work on this and
Hear.
investigating it. It sounds a thankless task. I'd like to request that Councillor Cottle does his best to investigate and hurry it along as soon as possible.
Yeah, can I?
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Send a WhatsApp in a second if you give me a chance to try and find out and put to the upset somebody's apple cart, shall we say? Okay, and then I'll get on to it again tomorrow morning as well.
Thank you very much here for modern technology. Can I just ask, sorry Connor, if you said, have Somerset given you the information you need in order to pass on to the, sorry if I missed that.
No, they have not.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't have the spec for how they were previously cleaned.
Wow.
To be very honest with you, I'll be surprised if Somerset Council themselves know.
Right. It's not, sorry, Councillor Napper, is there anything you would have any information on?
No,
As a street councillor?
sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Sorry, Your Worship.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Brilliant, thank you. Yes, I have had some, I've had some messages about that as well. So I know there are people in town, especially the row of shops that back onto St John's car park, who have said people have been asking. As it was pointed out, and we do say, you know, they have been telling other people where there are more sets of toilets, as we do have lots in town. Yes, Councillor Cousins.
Thank you. I just wonder, as we seem to be some toilets down now, how we're getting along with our own toilets on Magdalene Street, which I know are still locked in the evenings. Perhaps we could just have a quick report on that too.
Why not?
The roof has been replaced. We are just waiting on some final little bits on the electrics, and then they will be available to be open in the evening.
Perfect, thank you very much. Yes, councillor Osborne, sorry, what?
Grieve minutes.
Sex worker that usually works in St John's has now moved to Magdalen Street.
I have absolutely no idea.
What are you implying, councillor Osborne?
Well, yeah, no idea.
A point of clarity, last I heard, person had moved down to the big roundabout and the hotel just on the 303
Great,
platform.
that's
Yeah.
far more suitable. Thank you very much. Yes, let's get back to the minutes. Thank you very much. Going on to page 79. '80. Oh, wonderful. 81. 82. Oh, sorry, yes, councillor Rendell.
Yes, so right where we've got to, I'd just like the minutes to say that the Climate Adaptation Open Day, this is an initiative by Somerset Wildlife Trust. Not an initiative by us, but by Somerset Wildlife Trust. And I would like that to be recorded because I think that people should take the benefit for their actions, and it's Somerset Wildlife Trust which have initiated the climate adaptation plan. So if those minutes could be changed to reflect that, please.
Fabulous, thank you.
Just put in at the and then put in Somerset Wildlife Trust.
That's C1 bottom column, yeah? Fabulous, thank you very much.
Very bottom, last line of the last paragraph.
Thank you very much, councillor Dougal. So that was 82. Any more? 83. Yes, any more for 82? Thank you. Are we all happy that these are the correct minutes of the March meeting? I will suffice.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Right, well, I sign and date these. So can we, oh, sorry, to receive update on actions from the last meeting, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. In terms of the actions noted at the last meeting, I did liaise with the police and the solicitors in relation to the property that was going to be boarded up. That was successfully boarded up earlier this week, and we're just awaiting the invoice because our offer was accepted.
Great.
Not an offer to purchase, I'll just make it clear for the public record to pay for the boarding up and to charge a rate of interest on top. The two working groups that were set up at the last meeting, one of them has met, the other one has not been able to meet yet owing to diary clashes, but there's more on the agenda later on this evening in relation to that. Somerset Council were quite happy to take our money, haven't billed us yet, but quite happy to receive news about paying for the CCTV service. I've had less success, as previously discussed, in relation to St John's car park toilets, but I continue. And the other operational decisions from the meeting were all actioned in accordance with Council's wishes, Your Worship.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Connor. It's quick. Right, so please to note the latest crime statistics report. So I think everyone, we had these in our packages. I'm assuming we're going to, get this up. Whilst that's coming up, something that was mentioned a few times and actually in our crime reduction on the high street meeting was that there's still online, if you go Glastonbury crime statistics, you get this independent website that says Glastonbury is one of the most dangerous streets to go down. So I think that's something.
Is that still that Safe Street app?
Yep, that's still there. So, right. Obviously, just for the record, that isn't actually true. Just thought I'd say that.
Yeah, remember it's being filmed.
Just for the record. Thank you. Were there any observations or questions?
The one I see is still that violence and sexual offences.
Yep. And it's still not been separated either, as we asked. But apparently that's how they do it nationally, which to me seems a bit slapdash, really, piling in offences against women in normal general violence. It is really bad, but it has been separated. It has been explained to us by the police that have come in that have access to it, and they have separated it. And actually, as far as sexual offences, it is lower than most towns, which doesn't make it great, but it is lower than most towns outside. Yes, Councillor Cousins.
Worship, would it be possible, as we appear to be on the website, just to click on last 3 years for crime per month, just to see how we're faring? Thank you.
Yes. Spoiler alert, but I think we're doing quite well.
It's certainly on decrease.
Antisocial behaviours reduced.
Yes, Councillor Nabha.
I just wonder if the third one down, I think it is, shoplift. Sorry, no, it's not. It's
public order.
The shoplifting. I note that a fellow has been apprehended this week, and I hope that shoplifting will possibly go down. Whether it will or not, who knows? But there has been an apprehension of a young fellow.
Thank you very much.
Well, he was a young fellow when I knew him, but he's got older.
Yeah, there might be something later that you might be happy with. Yes, Councillor Smythe.
Thank you, Worship. It's not relating particularly to these figures, but the police informed us that sadly the deaths on the road for the last year were up 43% in Somerset.
Wow.
And all the more reason for us to enforce and assure that speed restrictions are adhered to.
Thank you. Good point. Yes, Councillor.
Reply that. That's a good point, Mike, because I get told of all of the deaths that we have in our area through RTAs. If you'd like me to pass them on to the town clerk when I get them, if you don't get them, Connor, I don't know if you get them, do you?
I don't get them, Councillor Cotton.
No. I'm more than happy so that we know when there has been a fatality in our local area.
Please.
Yeah. So I'll do that. I'll make sure I pass.
And usually the reason as well.
Yeah.
I do get a reason as well, but yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
In Councillor Hart's report that I just got at 6 o'clock tonight, there's a breakdown of that as well for Somerset and the main causes.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you. I haven't read that. Okay. And the main causes is perfect. There was something I noticed, and it's not actually in line of those, but apparently the most perceived or most crimes that people mostly report, and this isn't denigrating anyone, but it is youths looking dodgy, basically. It's fear of youths. So
that's probably in people's heads as well.
Well, yes, but also it would be nice to have, if youths had places to go, then. Any more, please, on crime statistics? Any more questions, observations? Nope, thank you very much, Connor. So let's move on to schedule of payments, please. Have you all got menacing? That's it. Youth looking menacing. Menacing.
That's it. That's
Sorry,
what it
that
is.
was the words.
But that can be free use sat in the.
I know.
You know?
It's, yeah. Fabulous. So has everyone got a copy, seen a copy, and hopefully has read through it and has brought their questions or has already put their questions to Jane, our finance person? That's page 1. Going on to page 2. Thank you. All happy? Yeah.
Noted.
Oh, sign that one. Thank you very much. Right, to receive the budget monitoring report.
Thank you, Your Worship. I did quite a lot of work on this one,
Of course.
this meeting. So if I may, considering also it's the last one of the year, if I may go over, if you can call them highlights, if I can quickly go over the highlights,
Thank
the
you.
main points, if I may. So in terms of our income for the financial year, and later on in expenditure, green is good, red is bad. So first one that should stand out is hopefully bank interest. We budgeted £300 for bank interest. Because we received from Somerset Council the precept all in one lump rather than under the previous districts in 2 half payments, and also because we were holding not the entire amount but a fair amount of town deal money for St Dunstan House, and also the interest rates, as everyone knows, went up an astronomical amount. No one forecasted that. We made £11,000 in bank interest because the responsible finance officer puts the money where it earns the most interest until we need to spend it.
Can we give her a thanks, please?
Absolutely, I will do. In terms of income for administration underneath for Austin Memorial Homes and St Edmunds Hall, we did less work for those 2 organisations over this year than was expected. However, all the work that we did do was invoiced. It was just a case of we ended up having to do less admin this year than we forecast we would have to. So that's why that is showing as less. Frost Fair income, you'll notice that the Frost Fair made a surplus over what we were expecting it to. That gets put into the Frost Fair fund to go toward future events. Nothing much else is that noteworthy. I do believe miscellaneous grants includes money received for the neighbourhood plan. And if you wanted a specific breakdown, I could ask Jane, but I can't off the top of my head think where the rest of that came from.
The speed monitoring device, 5,000.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Ronnie Dougal. The £5,000 of the Police and Crime Commissioner that was applied for by a member of the Community Speed Watch for a speed indicator device, that's in with that as well. Just goes to show that the Town Council and the community can go out and get grant funding where it wants to, Your Worship. Conscious that there's a question, I'll pause.
Thank you very much. Yes, Councillor Hussins.
So really a point of order, seeing as we have Alderman Tucker here and we can see just how fantastic the Frost Fair has been doing, I wonder whether this council should formally give Alderman Tucker a vote of thanks for all the input he puts in, as he has done for many years on the Frost Fair, and is very key to its success. And I think we should thank him as a council on the whole and have it minuted.
Thank you. All in favour say aye.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, you pull a good team. Thank you. Any?
In terms of other points of note, income from the Town Council running a bar and cafe was less than forecast. That was a brand new venture for this year. So that was when we set the budget about 18 months ago, just a bit of a pie in the sky figure. Town hall lettings, £10,000 more than we were expecting. So that's because we've been more on top of higher charges, and also we've been attracting new and more events to use the town hall and its facilities. So £10,000 more than budgeted. Car park takings were down on budget. Now, Jane partially explains this in one of her notes, in that previously we used to include the rental of St Dunstan's car park for the market within car park takings. That has been split out for clarity. So you'll see later down the list, weekly market just under £11,000. So considering we didn't do the work that we were forecasting because we're waiting to see what the situation will be with the car park, there's probably about a 10% variance on what was budgeted for, but that is because we didn't do the works we planned to. So actually that's probably quite a good figure in the round anyway. The rental for St Dunstan's Cottage, that obviously has not come in because the town council is using that until such a time when it can consider what it wants to do after the town deal project has completed and we have more space. Glastonbury and Bloom income. Glastonbury and Bloom has been incredibly successful this year, considering that it's in Britain in Bloom, in attracting more sponsorship than ever before. So Glastonbury and Bloom's income is higher than expected as well. So overall, against the budget, £19,500 more income than was expected.
Fantastic. I think you get a clap as well, actually, Connor. And so all of us.
Now, in terms of expenditure, again, green is good and underspend, red is bad and overspend. And you hope at the end, spoiler alert, it's an overall underspend. So underspent £14,000 on employee wages because there were a couple of posts that we didn't fill from the beginning of the financial year and a couple of vacancies that have been open longer than we wanted them to. So an underspend in that area. Not really anything much of note on the rest of that page, but of course do chuck up your hands if you have any particular questions. You will notice it's hard to read at an angle which ones are the overspend.
Description,
Three of us have got
Yes.
Three of us have got hands
Oh,
up.
sorry, thank you very much. I'm going to go Councillor Napper, Councillor Cousins, and then Councillor Rowling-Badougal.
Thank you, Your Worship. I note neighbourhood plan and WH status is, as I see it, we've gone over 4,500. It's in the red.
Right, so
On there, it's green. So,
so the version that members who had a printed copy that went out last week is different from this version, because you'll also notice in your version that's against a budget of £10,000. Actually, collectively, they had a budget of 20, so there was a mistake in the printed version. This is the correct version that I spent quite a lot of time on.
ah, right, okay, thank you for that. But my query also was that 3374 and 3375 which combined was 7,140, and I just wonder if that was good value for money that was paid out. Thank you.
Which numbers are you referring to? Sorry, Councillor.
On the schedule of payments, going back to that, it's 3374, 3375. Total was 7140.
For the neighbourhood.
Just wondered whether that, whether it's good value for money. That's
All right,
my query.
Councillor Napper. Yes, Councillor Cousins.
In response
Oh, Desi.
to Councillor Napper's inquiry, I'd just like to double check with the clerk how much money the neighbourhood plan has also brought in relation to money going out.
So the neighbourhood plan attracted a grant of £3,500 for some of that work, and the neighbourhood plan consultants, we went out for 3 prices, and we chose the best value, not necessarily lowest price, but best value return. So we followed the procurement rules in terms of getting that neighbourhood plan consultant. They've advised us on being able to gain grant income, which we did. And personally, I do consider that good value for money. I wouldn't want to be seeing the town council spending in any way that was bad value for money.
It's just that I was wondering about the scrutiny on that, like I say, 4563, I've got on my sheet, but it's turned into a positive rather than a negative.
So I think when we're dealing with expenditure, I think it's the colour coding's the other way around. But
so what happened was the printed version of this report, as is this one, has put neighbourhood plan and World Heritage status together. However, it didn't put the two budgets together. Collectively, they had £20,000, £10,000 each. Your printed version only showed £10,000 here, therefore the overspend. But actually, because they were lumped together, that figure should be 20. So the printed version, unfortunately, is wrong, but that's because it went out before I got a chance to see it.
Thank you, Connor.
Thank you, Connor. Did you?
So two things, Your Worship. One, as chair of the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group, I think that the consultants that we brought in have not only proved their worth by enabling us to raise grant funding, as well as making sure that the neighbourhood plan will go to referendum this year, which is one of the key things that we as a council wish to do. I think it's a very good value for money. Your Worship, what I wanted to say in relation to this budget is I know that the mayor's allowance is underspent by £1,260, and I didn't know whether this council may be prepared, as it's an underspend, to allow you to gift any underspend from your year to your charity.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cousins. I'll just hear, Councillor Bernie Dougal.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you've got subscriptions there, and I was wondering what the subscriptions were.
Yep, so the reason that subscriptions has overspent, it is one of Jane's notes, because the Town Council as an organisation is expanding very rapidly because of the asset and service devolution. The staffing committee have brought in a much higher level of human resource and health and safety professional support. Previously, we were contracted with a regional organisation that provided an advice line, but everything that needed to be done in terms of human resources and health and safety fell upon me. The staffing committee, because we're growing at such a rate, we've gone from 10 members of staff to 17 in a few months. And we're only going to grow as more asset and service devolution comes along. We've gone with a very professional industry player in terms of human resource support and health and safety support for local councils, and that's why subscriptions has overspent, because that was effective from March, because if we'd waited until we employed more employees, the cost of the contract would have been even more. So it's overspent because we weren't necessarily forecasting that, but the plan is the staffing committee are going to use some of the asset and service devolution money that's coming in this financial year to cover some of that. So that's why that one overspent, but it's providing more professional support, HR, health and safety to the town council, because we're doing more and we've got more people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just to come back to your point, Councillor Cousins, yes, I'm planning something just before the end of the Mayor's year as a fundraiser. So hopefully that will translate into the same amount. Thank you. Councillor Cottle, then Councillor Smythe.
Okay. Thank you, Worship. I just noticed one thing, which I thought was all due credit to you. Mayor's Sunday. We haven't got the price for last year or the year before, whichever one it was. But I happen to remember that it was about £1,200 or £1,300 or more. And for you to be able to do that with £600, I think is incredibly good
Thank you very
budgeting.
much. Thank you very much. That's very kind.
Thank you.
So that's what happened.
Nothing.
I did it kind of for nothing, because that's what happens when you don't have to close off the high street.
Yeah.
It was 600 in the budget, but the expenditure was nothing.
I might have spent
That's
some on
good.
food. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Smythe.
Thank you, Worship. Just one more thing. I'd like to again thank the clerk for his due diligence and clear explanation of the budget monitoring report, and also for the explanatory notes provided with it. Thank you very much.
You're all very welcome. So Jane provides the body of the report. I just spent, especially because it's the last one of the year, a long time going through it to try and make it as clear as possible. And in doing so, I've managed to confuse Councillor Napper, unfortunately. But we'll move on. In terms of underspends then, I will note, so it says Climate Emergency Group there, but that's actually also the Resilience Committee. So those two budgets have been moved together, which is why there is that amount of funding there. That's why that's showing us that significant underspend. The market cross has cost us more money this year than we were expecting, and probably will do in future years because it still needs quite a lot of work. The contribution to the tour bus overspent because we set the budget and then almost a month after we agreed it, we were asked for more money. So that's where that overspend came from, Councillor.
Sorry, Councillor Cousins, please.
Worship, I note on the item civic regalia, much has been said on Facebook by possibly some members of this council on how much we waste on civic regalia. And as you can see, we don't waste very much at all.
Thank you very much for pointing that out, Councillor Cousins. Any more?
Allotments and land overspent because of the works to Fisher's Hill, but that work is now complete. The standpipe is connected to the water main. So not that the project have needed it in the last 4 months, however, there is now a water connection on Fisher's Hill. So overall, on that part of the budget, an underspend of £18,000.
Outrageous.
In terms of then town hall, there was a slight overspend on discount lettings to groups. That is going to be closed in the next financial year or significantly reduced based on a decision previously of the Property and Assets Committee meeting. We have, I believe, slightly overspent on employees in this area, but underspent on the admin employees because I believe that's largely down to overtime. The decarbonisation budget is one of a number of budgets that will go into a fund for next year, so it will still be there to be spent, but this year we just have not had the resource to spend it. We have the report to tell us what to do, and for various staffing reasons we haven't got as far through it as we would want to, but I continue to work with the Climate Emergency and Resilience Officer to action those recommendations.
Fabulous.
We did come in quite significantly under budget on town hall maintenance because we've spent quite a lot of money on the town hall in previous years. However, that money will go into a fund so that in the future, if we have an issue such as the lift or touch wood for not a long time, there is some money in a fund so it doesn't come in as a massive surprise in future years. Electricity was overspent because of the EV charger in the car park, increased use of that. Insurance has overspent because the town council was doing more than it forecast to do back when we set the budget, so our insurance premium was higher. However, it was still very good value for money in comparison to other councils who I've spoken to, and the percentage increase was a lot less for this town council than it was on my car insurance, so you should be quite happy with that. So overall, on the town hall and council team expenditure, an underspend of 35.
Aren't we doing well? Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Cousins.
Of order, Your Worship, I'm a member of the Performing Rights Society.
Sorry, say that again?
I'm a member of the Performing Rights Society.
Performing Rights, thank you.
Because it's listed as expenditure.
Right, thank you.
In terms of the car park, toilets, St Dunstan's House, there was an overspend on grounds maintenance, equipment, etc. More equipment needed to be purchased this year than we forecast to do. An overspend on electricity because electricity prices went up through the roof. Not much else of note. Magdalen Street and Northload Street toilets maintenance. That figure there is the cost of the works to Magdalen Street public toilets that was actioned so they were ready as soon as possible. We're just waiting on the last few final touches to finish off the electrics to stop them tripping every time you get a drop of rain. But the money for that is in next year's budget, so we've spent it now and it will come in next year. So all your pound coins in a cauldron and swirl them around, and it doesn't really matter where they come from, but it all evens out in the end. So that was that overspend. Vehicle running costs, an underspend on that one. And again, we didn't spend anything on St Dunstan's House renovations because that is being done by the town deal.
Yes.
So overall in that budget area, an underspend of £1,500. In terms of the entire town council budget, that is a surplus to go into reserves of £178,000, which is more than was budget. However, in the what happens is money that goes into funds is classed as expenditure. So quite a few of those budget lines where we're going to use that money next year, it has to come out. So this is subject to our final set of accounts. The accountant is coming in on the 16th of April, but I just wanted to show you that we made more income and spent less money than we were planning. So we're in a stronger financial position after the mess we were in a couple of years ago.
Amazing. Thank you. Councillor
Point of
Cousins.
clarity, when you said funds, you mean reserve?
Yes, earmark reserves, funds. They're called earmark reserves in the council where I'm a parish councillor. Previously, this council's called them funds. But yes, it's an earmarked reserve, so it's money from a previous financial year. You say, I'm going to use it next year for the same purpose, and you earmark it in the accounts as a separate reserve. Yes, that's what I mean.
Great. No, reserve sounds a little bit more than funds to spend. Thank you very much, Connor, for that.
That was just for noting, Your Worship, if you wish to note that.
No, that's really fine. Thank you. So are we ready to go on to item 8?
Noted.
Noted. Thank you. So item 8 is to consider a proposed prostate cancer blood testing event in the town hall. Thank you, Councillor Ian. Alderman Ian, sorry, Tucker. Never get used to that.
Thank you, Your Worship, councillors, and it's an honour, and I was just calculating that I should be the first alderman to have spoken in this chamber for 50 years.
Wow.
The previous borough council had aldermen, and that was 50 years ago. And I was privileged to sit in this council chamber then and listen to them. And it's been interesting now to look at the budgets and just see the way that things might just turn around again and move forward, because I'm sure councillors who've sat around this table listening to me being boring about how much the assets were plundered by the district council. When you look and see what we had when we left, when there was last an alderman in this town council, what assets this council held, and how now, unfortunately, you've got the work of building all that back up again. In that you need to make sure you protect these assets, whatever you think you might be doing going forward, to make sure they're protected. So if there is another reorganisation in another 50 years' time and somebody thinks it's a really good idea to do something different, they can't plunder the assets the way that they plundered them on the last occasion. Because when I sat here when they did a summing up, the town council owned a third of the housing stock, believe it or not, in this town, in the form of council houses. And just look how that has just gone. It's just melted away. Plus all the other assets we own, but that one is a scandal. Agreed. So one of the reasons that we bought St Dunstan's house was to start to build our asset base up again. And one of the purposes in the town deal fund is to provide a health and wellbeing facility within St Dunstan's house. And a lot of people say, well, sort of how's that going to affect us, and what are we really talking about in health and wellbeing? Well, I think it's no secret to know that the reason I'm not sat around the table, because I didn't put myself forward, was that I discovered that I had prostate cancer. And you only start to learn about all these things when it happens to you. And the stark fact is that 1 in 8 men is going to get prostate cancer. And if we look around this table, and I'm looking at Terry, and I know you won't mind saying, actually we match those statistics absolutely, which is pretty frightening. And what's also frightening is that if you look at the way the women are screened. So there's, in fact, there's a screening on Morris's car park now for the women. But what screening do the men get? And I was taking a fire brigade medical up to the age I was 60, and then the National Health Service picked you up, and they take you so-called go into the health centre, and you have this what they call an MOT, and so you have life's going on fine. And what I discovered then is that they never do a PSA test for prostate cancer. It's a simple blood test. So it's made me realise that actually we need to make the concept of getting men tested with a PSA test for prostate cancer much more important, but also that if we're going to have a health and wellbeing centre, it would be a really good idea if we actually tried to do that through the town council. So to that end, I've discovered that there is a group in Somerset who actually raise funds and organise a PSA test for men. And so we've been doing some fundraising, a choir I sing in. Statistically are pretty well exactly the same. There's 40 of us. There's, I think, 5 who have either had or have got prostate cancer. So we recently held a fundraising concert and raised £2,500. Okay. The local Lions have offered to put £600,000 in, and there are other people who are prepared to fund the actual testing. So we could afford to test at the moment 200 men. And so the proposition is that we do that in this town hall on the 6th of October. And we do it as part of our town deal fund, starting the sort of ball rolling so people start to understand what health and well-being is going to mean to people in the town. And we advertise it to get hopefully 200 men to come in and have a simple blood test to see and raise the profile of them actually being tested. So really what I'm here for tonight is to try and hope that you might give the town hall free for this project. The funds are for the actual testing is being sorted out elsewhere. I think that we're probably only going to need the council chamber. It's a Sunday and I'm told there's nothing else booked in the town hall. So I think it could be probably done within the council chamber if the tables move back, according to the group that are doing it. But we will bring them back in to have another look. Now the numbers are potentially going to go up. But I'm asking whether you would consider that to be appropriate. And if you would, then you might want to promote it next Saturday when the town deal are having the open day in the town hall. And you could use that as an example when people ask you, what do you mean about health and well-being? Here we are, here's an event we're actually going to take forward to sort of raise the profile.
Thank you, Alderman Tucker. So would anybody like to propose?
I'll propose.
Thank you very
I would like
much.
to speak, if I may.
Oh, of course. Yes, Councillor Knapp.
Knowing what we've gone through in different guises of cancer, how can we deny that to the town? It's a simple thing. I think it was about 10 years ago. I was told that my blood sample was not that good, and would I go down to Musgrove, have a camera put up and put down. Anyway, the lady that was doing it, she said to me, I think we'll put the camera down first. So I said, okay. So laid on the bed. I was on the bed with this camera down the throat, and I was going, that kind of thing. And the lady said to me, oh, you've got cancer. And it was just like that. Oh, and yeah, it was, but there's no nice way to tell you. The nicest thing about it is to get rid of it if you can. And this is what is proposed with aldermen. So I can for me, I can only say let's do it, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I move that we actually, if somebody would like to propose that we allow. Okay.
Well, can I propose it?
Well, you can propose
Fine.
it, yeah.
Okay, you can propose it. Would you like to second it? Thank you very much, Councillor And this is for allowing the council to have a free open day on the 6th of October, in whichever you think up here would be all right. Fabulous. We have first and second. Everyone, all those in favour? I think that's unanimous. Yes. Thank you very much, councillors. And thank you very much, Alderman Tucker.
Well, thank you, Worship.
Fantastic for bringing that forward.
If I just might also say that the opportunity for recovery is so much better if you catch it early.
Yeah.
And also the actual treatment is so much better if you catch it early. And there is a serious reluctance, unfortunately, within the medical profession to actually get people, get men PSA tested. Mm-hmm. There was some sort of papers done some years back, and it seems to have stuck within the doctors that this is not particularly scientific. Well, sometimes you do get false results, but now that the MRI scan people before they go through all the other procedures, actually that's not so drastic. But if I can give an example, apparently it does run through the maternal line. So I was told to make sure, if I had a brother, to make sure that he got tested. He had absolutely no symptoms whatsoever, lives in Cornwall. His doctor wouldn't entertain it. In the end, we had to get the specialist who was looking after me to ring and say, look, this is likely. He was tested, and he discovered that he had it, but in the very early stages. His treatment has been probably a quarter of mine, and the side effects hardly anything. But it just proves that if you catch it early, you can deal with it in a much nicer way. So get the word out and start. Let's get 200 people. If we could get 300 people here, I'm sure we'd find the funding for it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Wise words, Councillor Alderman.
A free tattoo.
Do you get to choose? Yes, Deputy.
I won't show you, but
I was just going to say, my brother discovered he had a diagnosis of prostate cancer recently. But also, I was talking to Alderman Tucker this morning. He told me there's a roughly 10% percentage of diagnosis. So if we treat 200 people on this day, there might be 20 people suddenly discovering they've got cancer. So it's quite a sobering thing.
It is.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for bringing that forward. Perfect. If we could move on now. Thank you. So item number 10, to establish a steering group for the community.
You've missed number 9.
Oh, damn it. It's such an exciting topic. To review the Town Council's risk assessment policy and operational risk assessment. How could I miss that? Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Worship. This is a task that we have to do annually.
Lovely.
So it's been updated this year to reflect the new things that the Town Council is doing. So it's the same policy as has been adopted in previous years. The broad statement of the policy hasn't changed. Where I have made updates are to some of the specific activities that we now undertake that we haven't done before. So there's 3 sections to one of these reports. Section 1 is areas where there is scope to use insurance to reduce risk. Now, where I've updated this section is that obviously we are now running the Glastonbury Information Centre. We employ more people, and we have taken on the Tribunal Museum. So that has been updated in our insurance policy and also within this section of the risk assessment policy and operational risk assessment. So each section has 3 sections within it: risks, internal controls, and then how the confusingly internal audit that's done by someone who is external, how that also feeds into this process. So it is available. It wasn't available in advance of the meeting, but it's available for members to read, and it will be a document that goes onto the new website, which I'm hoping will be launched on the 1st of July.
Yes.
Section 2 is areas where there may be scope to work with others to help manage risk. So again, I've updated this to reflect the Glastonbury Town Deal, the Information Centre, the Tribunal building and museum. It's all quite common sense that it's part of our governance that it has to be there in writing and it has to be reviewed each year by the council. I've also updated it that we only have 2 outstanding public works loans. One of them has been completely paid off.
Yes.
Again, section 2, internal controls. This one goes on to talk more about standing orders, financial regulations, and terms of reference for committees. That's the full list of committees that are delegated to make their own decisions. They all have a set terms of reference, which are reviewed annually. They'll be reviewed at the next meeting. It's all basically putting on paper what this town council does to make sure that it doesn't open itself up to unacceptable risk. Only a few more pages to go. Section 3, areas where there may be a need to self-manage risk. So these are along the lines of ensuring that we have all the governance measures in place. We operate within the law, etc., which of course this town council does. We have an internal audit done by an external person, and then an external audit that is done by a nationally appointed firm of solicitors who come and scrutinise everything. The Finance and General Purposes Committee then consider that report and any operational recommendations for improvement. So again, returns to HMRC, recording the precise powers used, etc. We have the General Power of Competence, which is under the Local Government Act, Localism Act 2011. Thank you, Councillor Cousins. Got lots of bits of legislation swirling around in my head. Is a power of first resort, so that's not quite so important anymore. So, as I said, Your Worship, it's something we have to do annually. I have updated it with the new activities that the Town Council is undertaking and the new bits of property that we are looking after. I've updated that we've got the new LGA, Local Government Association Model Code of Conduct for Somerset, and you adopted that last year. So I'll happily take any questions, Your Worship. It's not very exciting or glamorous. We have to do it every year.
Thank you for doing the glamorous tasks. Thank you, Colin. I have a question. Did we pay any more for more insurance?
Yes, our insurance premium did increase. That increased because we have more members of staff, so you have to have insurance cover for salaries, wages, etc., etc. We have separate insurance coverage under our new HR and health and safety for touch wood. It shouldn't happen. Oh, it shouldn't happen. Touch wood, it won't happen if the town council was ever taken to an employment tribunal or a health and safety hearing. The separate insurance is under that new arrangement for that. But yes, in terms of now running the information centre, the project at St Dunstan's House has its own insurance under the project. So that's not under our town council insurance. But the new things that we're doing, the new activities that we are taking on, the tribunal, etc., our insurance premium did increase. But I believe it increased by about £500 for the year, which wasn't an awful. As a percentage term, it's actually very small.
Thank you very much. Safe pair of hands. Any more questions on the table? No, thank you very much. Oh, is that a hand? That is a hand.
Yeah, I'd just like to recommend that we adopt this update that being presented by the town clerk.
Thank you very much. Or yes,
I'm happy to second that.
lovely. Thank you. All in favour of adopting with our thanks?
Yeah.
Lovely. Unanimous. Thank you very much, Connor.
Thank you.
Right. More exciting news. To receive an update from working parties established at the last meet. Oh, sorry. Have I missed it again?
Now skipped item number 10.
Sorry, it's because I put a circle around it. Thank you. Now we would like to establish a steering group for the community review project. Thank you very much, councillors. What does this mean?
I will briefly speak to it, Your Worship. The Town Council at its previous meeting approved a recommendation from the Neighbourhood Plan Advisory Committee to undertake a community review as part of a fully funded project through an organisation called the Community Council for Somerset. So the next step in us undertaking this project is to establish a steering group. Now, when the administration officer and I met with the member of the team from Community Council for Somerset, they recommended that for a town with Glastonbury's population, the steering group should be about 9 members. And ideally, that would probably be 4 councillors, considering that would then be a quarter of the council, it being 16 in its full form, and 5 members of the public. So it's a community-driven community review. However, that's not set in stone by any means. That was just a recommendation. And Community Council for Somerset provide all the governance bits and pieces, such as the terms of reference, etc., etc. What the Town Council needs to do in order to meet the project deadline, which is November of this year, so it's a very speedy process, is to agree to establish a steering group, ideally identify the councillors who are going to be part of that steering group formally. Other councillors can, of course, attend meetings, listen and contribute when, presuming it has a chair, invites them to, as you all do normally. And then also for councillors more widely, but particularly councillors on the steering group, and we can do a call out via our channels as well, is to also get interested and engaged members of the community to be part of that steering group as well. What I'm hoping for this evening, Your Worship, I can try and answer any questions where I possibly can. I'm not the officer leading on this one. But this document is available in your pack online to read, is to agree to establish a steering group and which councillors want to formally be part of that steering group, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, God. Yes, I think I did ask this question before, but do we have any idea of the timeline and how much time will be put in by? So how many meetings, how many, or is that totally up to the steering group?
So it is largely up to the steering group, Your Worship. The project has to be completed by November.
November, thank you. That gives a good idea.
There is training to be undertaken. However, it's all pre-recorded and can be done at members' leisure.
Wonderful, thank you.
If you're struggling to sleep.
Lovely. I think Councillor Cousins, and then Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Worship. I would like to propose that we, as a council, undertake this action and form the steering group. It's a very useful side to the neighbourhood plan that captures some of the things that aren't included in the neighbourhood plan, and also enables more members of our community to become involved in how the town progresses.
Perfect, wonderful. Is that a proposal? Yes, Councillor.
I'd like to second that proposal.
Lovely.
And in Councillor McDougall's absence, she's very keen to be on this group.
Of course, no, she'd be a great person. Yes, Councillor Osborne.
Suggests that we have a councillor from each ward. There's 4, and we've got 4 wards.
Yeah, I think that's are people happy with this? So, but we still need
We
to
move
vote.
to vote and then
Yes,
discuss.
of course. Thank you. All in favour of taking this forward and producing a steering group? Thank you, that's unanimous. And having one, is that another proposal then to have, okay, so if you would anybody like to second that, please?
I would second that.
Fabulous, Councillor Cousins. So all in favour of having a councillor from each of the different wards? Lovely, that is unanimous too. Fantastic. Thank you. Well, with this then...
Mike didn't vote.
You didn't vote. Sorry, I didn't. You're abstaining. Sorry, didn't see you.
That if there is a councillor available in that ward, otherwise it can go to another councillor that might be available.
Thank you. That is a good point. So with the caveat, so if there is a councillor available and willing as well.
That's better.
Yeah? Okay, councillor able and willing. Is that okay? All in favour?
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. Great. So with that in mind...
end up being unanimous then?
Yes, I think that was unanimous.
Suggested before, Councillor.
Yes, no, that's great. Lovely, got that.
So, Your Worship, do you want to...
Yes, let's go around the wards.
Point it out.
So, yeah, so let's start with, so Councillor, yeah, so is there anybody else? Who else is in your ward?
Myself, Margaret, Terry.
Okay. Terry?
Yeah, I would propose myself.
Okay, so we've got Councillor McDougall and Terry, so I'm not sure how we do this. And we only need one. So I'm not sure how you want to do this.
No, I don't think that, sorry, I don't think that's correct, is it? That the minimum is four,
Terry.
but
Let's take a
the minimum
consensus
is four,
first.
surely.
Let's take a consensus first, Terry, of who wants to, okay? And then we'll whittle it down. So let's go through them. Is that all right? Okay. It's great that so many people want to be on this committee. Fabulous. So that's Terry and Lindsay. Okay, next ward. So let's take Benedict. I would love to be on it. Is there anybody else here on Benedict ward that would love to be on it?
I don't want to be on it.
Okay, you're not loving it? Great. So I'm a shoo-in. Thank you very much. I know Councillor Henderson. And if he really, really, really wants it, I will arm wrestle him for it. Okay? But yeah, we'll have it open if he really wants to, because he does know this. You know, I would actually bow down to his, bigger knowledge on the community as a longer-serving councillor. Right, moving on. St John's. Who have we got in St John's? Who would like to in St John's? Fabulous. Would you like to put yourself forward, Councillor Cook? Fantastic. Nobody else? No contesting?
That although I am on St John's, I'm really a councillor. I'm happy to do that because of my work commitments and other committees.
Councillor Cook.
So that's really great. Yeah.
Fabulous. Really glad. Thank you very much. Of course.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that actually. As soon as I saw it, I thought, right, okay, yeah, that's definite, because of, specifically from my point of view, it's the clubs such as football, cricket, Keep Fit, uniform groups, etc. I think it's appalling what's been happening to the clubs lately, especially now with Hall Leisure being built. I mean, you know, cricket is played there 3 months of the year. That's it. You know, so there's 8 months, well, yeah, good 8 months to do an internal refurb, and yet the place is closed and there's no cricket this year.
Gosh.
That's appalling. And then there's the football. They are desperate need of help in the football flooding problem. I mean, it's been a dreadful year.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that.
Fantastic. It's good that you're on this committee. They're lucky to have you. St Edmunds, fabulous. St Edmunds. How many do we have in St Edmunds who would like to put themselves forward? Is that Councillor Cousins, Councillor Serena?
Happy to, but
Well, my work commitments probably won't allow me to do so. So it's probably easier if you can, Councillor.
Fabulous.
No. Simple as that. I've got a similar situation.
Okay.
So I'm happy to, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Deputy Lokabandu. Fabulous. So that's great. That is Councillor Cook, myself, Lokabandu, Deputy, and then we have both Terry and Lindsay. So, I mean, that's 5, if that's not too outrageous, to have 5 councillors. Is that a recommendation?
Well, so this town council agreed 5-10 minutes ago that you would have 1 councillor per ward. So
Yes.
although it hasn't come down from Community Council for Somerset, as a town council, you've just agreed that you will have 1 councillor per ward.
Yes, we did. Councillor Osborne.
As there seems to be more than 4 interested, perhaps from St Mary's ward, we can take a vote on it, and whoever doesn't become the substantive representative could be the kind of deputy person for anybody who can't turn up.
Okay, so you're suggesting we vote?
Your worship,
Councillor
I'll
Napper.
stand down and let Lindsay, or maybe I can be one of the
civic.
One of the.
Thank you, Terry. That's very good of you. Yes, Councillor Cousins.
I really like the idea that if a councillor is unable to attend from any of the wards, perhaps Councillor Napper would be happy to be the substitute for all wards, and that way if you're not attending as a member of the public, you could still attend as a councillor, should that happen.
Yeah, I would wish that to happen. I think that I need to go to all the meetings anyway, or else you get lagged behind and you don't know what's going on. So maybe I could be a dual hatter, if you like, a public man and a council man.
Okay, we'll see when that comes out. So you're on the bench for now.
Terry.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Terry. Yeah, on the bench. Fabulous. So we have Councillor Lindsay McDougall, Deputy Lokabandu, myself, and Councillor Cook is the few councillors. Thank you very much. Oh, and Terry on the bench. Thank you, councillors. It looks like a very exciting piece of work. Fabulous. Moving on to item 11, to receive an update. I'm on the right one now. Okay, great, thank you. To receive an update from the working parties established at the last meeting to consider recommendations for approval. So we have the town centre tree planter. Is there a report back? Is it in your? Right, okay, thank you. Yes, councillor.
I've read the report from Kim Van Coles. I think she did a very thorough job. Included, as well as the report, she did a survey of public and shopkeepers.
Oh, yes.
And I would like this council to take her recommendations forward, which is essentially do nothing for the time being other than enhance the planting scheme of each planter. Perhaps with a few perennials as well as hanging trailing plants. I think this council should thank her for all her hard work.
Absolutely, definitely. Yes, please.
That's a recommendation.
No, yep, that is her recommendation. Thank you. Would anyone like to speak to that?
I'd be happy to second that.
Yeah.
Okay, I would just like to say, I think it's a shame. I think we got to a place, and I think it's citing basically lack of funds because there was more money than she had anticipated. I would like to, maybe even with the In Bloom committee, to try and find funds, because I think it would be a great enhancement to our town. But I think that's the recommendation, is just shelve it for now. That is the recommendation. So, no, absolutely, and I'm not going there. So, councillor. Yes.
One of the reasons to us that the material, the actual galvanised iron, isn't suitable for painting.
No.
But perhaps we could move to vote shortly.
Thank you. So let's just take a couple points quickly before we vote.
I fully agree with the term vanity project that she uses in that paper. I think the way things are at the moment, for us to be seen painting planters, I think it will go down very badly with the public, to be perfectly honest.
No, thank you. Well, let's move to vote unless you. Also, this would be funding not coming from the town council. I was suggesting.
It's perception.
Okay. Can we move to vote, Councillor Cook, or we've got anything pressing?
Well, just to reinforce.
That's really fine. We doesn't need reinforcing. We're fine.
She's absolutely right. Kim's absolutely right. And put a great letter together, I think.
Yeah.
The only thing I think she's underestimated is the cost of £500 per planter to clad it. I mean, the cladding is going to be pretty awful in a couple of weeks. So I think the only option you've got is to put plants in it, hanging plants over the side, leave it, and just accept that it was a disaster from the outset and leave it at that.
Thank you, Councillor Cook, for your opinion.
Point of order. The duplication of my recommendation is absolutely not necessary. Can we move to vote?
Yes, moving to vote. So accepting Kim Van Coles' recommendation. Thank you very much.
With thanks for her.
With thanks.
With due thanks,
Yeah. Thank you very much. All in favour? Is that? No, that's fine. Anyone against? Any abstentions?
That's the room, Chair.
Fabulous. 3 abstentions. Thank you very much. Okay. Southwest Heritage Trust funding. Who would like to speak on this?
This group hasn't met, Your Worship.
Oh, yes. Okay.
But it's going to shortly.
Lovely. So for the next meeting?
There'd been a suggestion that the CEO from the Rural Life Museum wasn't around, it was on holiday.
Mhm.
We just couldn't fit anything. And the latest date I think I've seen is the 25th of April, maybe.
Right.
So it hasn't met.
Lovely, fabulous. We'll do the next one. Thank you very much, Councillor Wade. Right, moving on. Item number 12, to consider a recommendation from the Visitor Experience Officer in respect of Glastonbury Information Centre and Tribunal. So this was after a meeting we had with our new Visitor Experience Officer. Sorry, Connie, yes, please.
So first of all, I must apologise. I got the job title wrong. It's Visitor Experience Manager, but I'm more used to writing the word officer than I am manager.
Oh, yeah.
So there's not a recommendation in a form of words for you this evening. Essentially, what we have been investigating with the Town Council now taking on the operation of the Information Centre and a museum in the Tribunal building. We've obviously been looking at factors such as business rates and VAT, because the Town Council is VAT registered because of the amount of income it generates. Now, if you sort of imagine me as a court jester with lots of balls juggling, there's essentially two operating models we could follow. We could either run both of them as a service function of the Town Council and pay the dues that go along with that, i.e. charging VAT on merchandise that's vatable, room hire, etc. that's vatable, and paying business rates. Or if you set both operations up as their own entities, if you're a small business that is under the VAT threshold, you're obviously you're under the VAT threshold. And additionally, if you're a small business and you have a sole occupying address, certainly at the moment you do not pay business rates. However, you will have to pay VAT and won't be able to reclaim it back. So there is a lot of juggling, different amounts of money from different incoming, outgoing sources. What we are asking is for the Town Council to authorise myself, the responsible finance officer, and the visitor experience manager to find and engage a specialist for us to talk to, like we did for our VAT, back to do with St Dunstan's House, the Town Deal project, is to find a specialist who can tell us a best guess, a lot better than I could do because I'm not an expert. Is it financially more efficient to run it as a service directly under the Town Council as it is now, or is it financially more efficient to set up individual operating companies owned by the Town Council for both of those functions? So it's probably not, when you do the maths, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but where you save VAT and business rates setting up two separate organisations, you have separate accounting, corporation tax and separate insurance. So there's all these different numbers, costs that we would have to have investigated, and to get it right, I don't think we have the skills internally, because this Town Council has never done this before. So I'm asking the Town Council to authorise myself, the responsible finance officer, and the visitor experience manager to find a specialist, to engage that specialist, to talk with them, and for them to tell us what's the most financially efficient way of doing what we're doing.
Fantastic. So to save you learning to juggle, any questions? Oh, yes, Alderman Tucker.
Your Worship, I can tell you that the Community Interest Company, which previously ran this event, has not yet been wound up, and we always thought that there might be some merit in the Town Council taking that as a vehicle and using it. The directors would be happy to pass, and I'm looking at John because he is one of the directors, but we did discuss it the other day. We would be happy to stand, the current directors would be happy to stand down to pass across the Community Interest Company if that was a vehicle that you might find useful. It already exists, it's got a track record, it's got a track record in terms of fundraising as well, and one of the advantages to the Town Council could be to have this under its umbrella as a means of attracting other grants that a Town Council can't go for, because we got money, several pockets of money last time through that vehicle. So I'm happy to go back. We were going to go through the process of winding that company up. I'm happy to talk with Mary Parker, who's sort of secretary and looking after it, to suggest that for the minute we hold fire while you investigate this, because I think it's a very sensible action. And I think you might find that actually you might not be wanting to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Thank you very much, Alderman Taker. So I take it that doesn't negate what Connor is suggesting that we do. So that's just thrown into the mix, that if we do authorise a specialist, that is just in the mix. Is that fantastic? Thank you. Yes, Councillor
Thank you,
Smythe.
Worship. So therefore, I'd like to recommend that we take up the clerk's proposal along with the visiting attractions officer, and particularly bearing in mind what Alderman Tucker has just said.
Fantastic. Do we have a second? Yes.
I'll second. Could I ask one question first, please? If we did it under the town council, is that feasible? If everything sort of stays inside?
Yes, it is absolutely feasible. It's just a question of which operating model is financially most efficient. But absolutely, this town council has the general power of competence. It can do anything that an ordinary human being lawfully can do. So running an information centre, running a museum could absolutely be part of that. And we could reclaim VAT expenditure. But similarly, you have to charge VAT on what you sell, which makes what you sell more expensive. So it is a complicated picture. There's lots of different factors to consider, and that's why we wanted to go get a specialist opinion, because it's too important to get wrong.
Yeah, I'm happy to say.
It'll take a long time if you don't know exactly what you're doing.
Is that another question, or are we moving to vote? Another question. Thank you, Councillor Cousins.
I just wondered how that impacts on the staff that we recently 2P'd over. Would this, if we were forming a kind of arm's length organisation, whether it be the existing CIC or a new organisation was formed, would that organisation also take on responsibility for staff? I'm not necessarily asking whether that's an answer we need now, but these are perhaps things that perhaps need considering, as well as the financial aspect of it, just the impact on our structure.
Yes, I don't believe that if we set up companies to essentially operate underneath, that our existing members of staff would need to transfer to those companies, because you can have a company with directors but no members of staff. So it would be my preference that the town council would still employ everybody.
Yeah.
However, there may be some arm's length limited companies or CICs, whichever worked out to be financially most efficient. If it does, that the business would sit under.
Thank you very much. Move to vote. So we have and a seconder.
Point of clarity,
Yeah.
Your Worship. Am I able to vote in this as I'm a director of the CIC?
Yes, because we haven't.
Yes, Councillor Cousins, it's not a disclosable pecuniary interest, and it's not directly relating to the CIC. It's relating to the town council taking specialist advice on being financially efficient. So yes, you can vote, Councillor Cousins, if you wish to.
Vote your boots off. Fabulous. Can we move to vote, please? Yeah, all those in favour. Yeah, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
All those in favour, please, of bringing in a specialist. Brilliant. Thank you. All against? All abstaining? One abstainer. Perfect. Thank you very much, councillors. Thank you. Can we move now to item 13 to to note the resolutions of delegated committees?
Thank you, Your Worship. I will project these in just a second.
Thank you. Can I take this opportunity to slip out the room? We're there. Sure. Lovely. It's all right. Sorry. Oh, yes.
We've mostly got it in front of us.
Thank you.
Mostly got it in front of us. Starting with Glastonbury in Bloom, meeting held 11th of March. Here we go.
So these are all resolutions for noting because they are decisions of delegated committees.
Noted. Planning Committee. 19th of March. That was just, yes. Noted. Planning committee. The resilience committee. No decisions. It's the end of the resolutions.
Yes, Chair.
Anything else to say on that? So to receive updates from the advisory committees, I think there are a couple of decisions to take here.
Microphone. Because they won't be able to, oh, you got it there, okay. That's all right. So they won't be able to hear you.
Recommendations.
Thank you. Perfect, thank you. Yes, Councillor Manning.
With regard to the Crime Reduction Advisory Committee, in the pack there was a revised business code. You can see that the second 1B, we want the buskers forward to the council for approval. I can't see it on the agenda, so I don't know if this is the point that I should wait on.
Thank you, that's for the buskers code. Yes.
I have a copy here.
You have got it there, haven't you?
And I have it on my laptop.
It is in the pack. Yes,
Your Worship,
Councillor.
this is the item of the agenda where we're discussing the buskers code for approval.
Thank you very much. Has everyone seen the buskers code for approval?
Yes.
Fabulous.
Oh, sorry. Did you want your worship to speak to 1A?
Yes.
In terms of the town ambassadors, wardens, street marshals, etc.
Yes, I think that's actually.
Take them in order.
I think that's 1B, isn't it?
No, it's 1A.
It's 1A.
1A is ambassadors.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Councillor Smythe, did you have your hand up?
Thank you, Worship. Other than trying to recall the exact meeting, since there have been so many meetings since that time, I consider it a really good idea that we, as councillors, are town ambassadors for Glastonbury, and we explore the necessary training and funding, which is an opportunity to fulfil that role. That was an actual proposal.
It was.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding us. Brilliant. So that is a proposal. Is that something we just, sorry, it was a recommendation to this full council that we go ahead and explore looking at, well, it's called town ambassadors. I think there's another high street navigators. So this would be people who would be signposted, signposting people in the high street. So it came out of the committee looking at sort of crime and safety on the high street. So it's a proposal to start exploring, going forward, a team. So is that, it's a recommendation from that committee. So do we have...
Yeah, so I would hope someone would propose that, if they were minded to, accept the recommendation that it be explored. It's not obligating the council to any expenditure. The advisory committee just didn't want to spend its time exploring something that the town council didn't wish it to.
Yes, Councillor Cousins, then Councillor Rogler McDougall.
I'm very happy to propose that this council support such a move. It enables people to feel safer in the town, particularly as we have lots of tourists. If there are people who are identifiable as town ambassadors or people who can signpost who are actually in the street during the day. And they can also be people that are known to the police and liaise with the police around things that they witness or see as well. I think it's a very useful move, and I hope this council will support Sergeant Lancy and the team in putting this forward.
Thank you. Councillor.
So I'm feeling very unclear as to exactly what a town ambassador is, what their role is, what they would do, what, who they are, why they are. I have complete lack of clarity about the whole thing.
Fabulous. I'll fill in a little bit more. So many towns across Somerset and probably England are bringing in, so these are employed and trained people, members of our community. I think what brought this forward was Dave Beach. It was in with the spirit of Dave Beach. So some towns, say Taunton, are taking it where they have marshals and they're a little bit more kind of on the, sweeping buskers off the street. That's what wasn't where we wanted to go. And then you have, I think in Frome, they also clean the toilets. There's a whole ranch of things they do. So ours would be very much towards, we'd take it out to what actually is needed, but it'd be everything from signposting information for tourists, but also for people in need. So people in the high street, our community, so they'll have mental health training, there'll be various training and able to help people for where they are and also to maybe calm things down. There'll be a circuit that they do, they can stay in place, but also they will be there, the ones in, I think it's Taunton or maybe it's Frome, where shoplifters, there's identification of people. So, but they have no powers. They have no powers of arrest. They have no powers to engage or anything like that. But it is basically a presence on the high street. And it kind of takes from the idea where we used to have a centre that did things. So this is kind of like taking the centre onto the high street. Yes, Councillor.
Is it a bit like stewards at Glastonbury Festival?
Yeah, okay. That's a nice, that's a good way of putting it. Yep, love it.
These are voluntary positions.
No, well, it was going to be voluntary. We could do it through, we were thinking of doing it through micro providers where people, are paid, say, a voluntary wage, but it was actually said, no, why don't we actually go the full hog, like they are in other towns, and either bring them in-house or do some fundraising. So I can't remember the titles of the police that were in the room, but they also were very excited about it. They said they'd help support it, and that meant financially as well. So it could be that we look for external fundraising. Yes, Councillor.
They are going to be paid people.
Yes.
And they're sort of like there's police, and then there's PSO people, and then under them there's them. So it's like another layer of police. That's what we're affecting.
They're not police. They're not police. They're more for the community rather than. Yes, please, Councillor.
This was at the meeting. This was very, very broad church idea, and the word "explore" includes exploring the role. So the role hasn't been decided, paid or unpaid.
Yeah.
It could be both. Could be neither. Could be either or both. That hasn't been decided. This is just wanted clarification. This council, in principle, is for the idea of town ambassadors, training, funding, and exploration of their roles will be discussed at a further meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Smythe. So yes, a presence is what we're saying. Any more questions? Do we have it?
I believe the name, there's a lot in the name, and I think in one town they're called street pastors.
Yeah.
So definitely not legal or judicial or,
Thank you. So we have a seconder. Thank you. So move to vote. Thank you. All those in favour of allowing this committee to explore looking into street ambassadors or street navigators, whatever we decide them to be. Thank you. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that you?
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you.
Sorry, I know it's a bit after, but it doesn't say in there about looking at the role and what the role is. That's
It's exploring the role, but thank you. Yes, it will. I promise.
Just so that we feel a bit clearer about what that is.
Yeah, oh yeah, there isn't much to present right now. It's just to say, let's not, we want to bring it here so that we didn't go down a rabbit hole that wasn't. So yeah, we're just literally giving you a taster. And if you're happy with us, thank you. Anyone against? 2 against? 3 against? Thank
I
you.
think it takes the focus off the police.
Yep, they need all the help they get. Thank you very much, Councillor Neville. Thank you very much for your support. And then did we want to talk about the buskers code as well? Is that something that needs to be looked at? Are people happy with it? People have got it, seen it in front of them? So this is a big piece of work. Yes, thank you, Councillor Manning.
This is a task that's undertaken by the Crime Reduction Advisory Committee. The buskers code is a few years old now, and it is well, 2 things. One is we've got a new intake of buskers, so not all the current buskers are familiar with it. But secondly, it was a bit out of date. Legislation has changed. So working the amendments have been in conjunction with Somerset Council, the enforcement people, and also with the police, and also with speaking to some of the busking community as well, to come up with an updated wording. So it's the emphasis is a lot gentler, in that it's not sort of a you must do. The word must has disappeared quite a lot, and it's far more gentle in this nudging, but it is actually everything in there is enforceable.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Yes, sorry, Councillor Cottle.
Thank you, Worship. I've got 2 actually. That I haven't read it properly, so maybe Mike, you can tell me if I'm wrong here. I thought it would be quite a good idea when we're doing this to have somewhere where the pavement artists could work a particular area, and also for ordinary artists who wish to put stuff out in the summer for sale. I think that we should look into that to go in conjunction with this as well, and then have somebody to enforce, because I think that will be important.
Sorry, with Councillor Cousins?
Just to say that buskers code doesn't exclude or include suggestions.
Yeah, I'm just.
It's not.
So it does go slightly further.
It
does include street performance as well. So it's not as well as busking. It does cover the street theatre.
Sorry, Councillor Cousins, can you or
It's all right if you.
No, okay, Councillor Cousins.
Cousins first.
Your Worship, I just want to say that whereas busking is sort of delivering a service as such and doesn't require a licence, if you're starting to sell items, then you will, as Councillor Cotton knows, and I think that might be water.
Yep. Yes, thank you.
I was a point very similar to Councillor Cousins. The Town Council doesn't have a formal role in terms of busking, but it can produce this leaflet to try and encourage considerate busking. In terms of pavement art and street selling, that respectively is highways and licensing. And with your second hat, Councillor Cottle, there may be suggestions you might want to raise to Somerset Council, because they are not activities
Sneak something in there.
over which we have any power or ability to make decision.
Thank you. Yes, we were actually visited by the licensing and they made it very plain. Yes, Councillor White.
Just one practical thing. This bit's upside down.
Is that the printer?
No, if it becomes a leaflet.
Thank you. Well, hopefully that will be checked.
I think, Councillor White, that's just because it came out of our normal printers, double-sided. Thank you. And it was flipped on the wrong edge, but a professional printer would do a much better job than any of us here.
Fabulous. Any other comments, or would we like? Yes, thank you.
Well, sorry to comment again, Worship. When it was previously produced, it had a nice picture of a busker on the front and looked perhaps more in line with the street performers themselves, whereas this does look rather corporate in a kind of council sort of way.
Thank you, Councillor Cousin. I did actually say when it was being put that if we were going to have pictures on it again.
I was also hoping, Your Worship, that you would you would approve the wording and let me tart it up somewhat.
Oh, okay, there we go. There's your answer. Lovely.
I'm all in favour of the clerk tarting up.
Perfect, thank you. I'm sure he'll have great fun doing that. Fabulous. So the words and maybe the layout, are we happy to pass this as a job well done? Yes?
Yeah.
All in favour of oh,
Who's proposing that the recommendation is?
I was proposing.
I was proposing.
And who was seconding?
Yes, and Deputy was seconding. Thank you very much. Lovely. All in
Thank you.
favour of passing this document. Thank you very much. Those against? One against. And those abstaining? Thank you. One abstention. Thank you very much. That was a good body of work. Do we have anything else to...
Yes, so number 2, arts, culture and events. It's been noted on this report that I didn't write that Councillor Cousins may wish to speak to these 3 items.
Lovely.
Your Worship, the peace poll was put in place by the car park many years ago, I believe, when Alderman Tucker was mayor. Is that correct? And over the years, some of the lettering has come off, particularly in one of the languages. And we have received notice of this several times, and indeed we have the phrase as it should be. What it says, of course, in every language is, "May peace prevail on earth." So the Arts, Culture and Events Advisory Committee would very much like the council to endorse the re-lettering of the poll. Perhaps if we had a caretaker member of our workforce who was very good at doing things like painting. I just look around this room. Perhaps they might be somebody who'd be able to do it for us if they had the words. So just something we would like to have done, particularly in light of the fact that peace doesn't seem to be prevailing too much at the moment. It'd be very nice for us to reiterate that. So that's one of the things that the committee would like to consider. Secondly, I don't know if you wish to ask the council about that, or whether you'd like me to run down here.
All at once. Sorry, was that a recommendation?
So,
Please carry on.
as we all know, D-Day is, I believe, 80 years ago this year, and we are going to host a number of things to commemorate this very important time during the second. And we would like to produce an A5 leaflet to promote D-Day and do an oracle advertisement as well. There's going to be a beacon on the tour, etc. And so this is very much something we would like to do. I'm asking this because the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee, Events Advisory Committee, doesn't have delegated powers to spend any budget assigned to it, so we do have to get the approval of the council. And finally, as part of the D-Day event, there is a push nationally, and I believe it's because the King himself doesn't mind a bit of fish and chips, that we are going to have a fish and chip event here with the support, generous support of Knight's Fish and Chips, but we would like to be able to have a budget so that we could fund perhaps for veterans some fish and chips where they don't have to pay on D-Day. I don't know whether anyone else from the committee would like to speak to any of this, but I would heartily hope that this council would support us in being able to do all 3 items. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. So can I just ask the letter, do you have any prices for these? Do you have any pricings?
Well, if the town council asked perhaps a member of the caretaking staff who's handy with a brush, just look around this room at the wonderful work it's done in here, perhaps they might be able to just, with a paintbrush, do the bit of lettering that's missing.
That's
that
lovely.
wouldn't cost us too much, apart from councillor, the time of the caretaker.
Yes, Councillor Coffey.
Thank you. I'm interested in the fish and chip supper idea. But would that include all veterans and not sort of ancient veterans, shall we say? Was that the the idea that to include all veterans?
Give way to Councillor Manning.
Yeah, within the town.
There is certainly a veterans group in the town which I'm a member of. I should declare an interest in it. I probably will be abstaining from fish and chips. But my understanding was the intention was to do it as broadly as possible for all veterans in the town.
Good.
Now I should add, I believe that Knights Fish and Chips have said that they will do a number already for some of the veterans, but there could be quite a lot in the town, and the Knights have promised a certain number, and if it's in excess of that, then there will be some further support if they were to get subsidised.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor.
I have a slight confusion. I mean, it's 80 years, so you're not going to have any actual veterans from D-Day, are you? Because there are presumably a few 100-year-old people around, but not that many. I did meet one at the Christmas lunch in the town hall, but there are very few people who are 100 who are actual veterans of D-Day. So are you talking about other servicemen in other wars or what?
Yes, veterans. I think that was the idea.
Yes, it is other veterans. You're quite right. In fact, I speak to Mary Claridge recently, and in fact, she's done some research. There was actually nobody from this town who was actually killed in D-Day in Normandy.
Good to note. Thank
So,
you.
Your Worship, just as Chair of Committee, I would like to say that we feel it's important on such a prestigious day to honour all those men and women who have served in the armed forces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Agree.
I'll take a couple more, but then I want to move to vote on these. Did you have your hand up first? Councillor Osborne.
If we're going to do it for every single person who's ever been in the armed forces, or even maybe the merchant navy, because they were in the war that day as well. And then there's things like the fire service and all those other things. I mean, how many people are we actually talking about for fish and chips hall?
Worship, we're talking about the veterans.
Yes, we are just talking
the armed
veterans.
forces. We have discussed this at great length at the committee meeting. Councillors who wish to get into that debate could always join the committee.
You don't want to debate.
Thank you. Well, then maybe we'll put a ceiling in it. Yes, thank you, Councillor Smythe.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to recommend that we take up these three suggestions. I'm every confidence that the ACE committee will fulfil the obligations and support the D-Day celebrations in whatever way and whatever budget they decide.
Fabulous. I'd like to second that. So let's move to vote. All in favour of taking up these three suggestions and then allowing the committee to actually decide by having vote. All in favour. Are you abstaining because you're a veteran? Fabulous. Thank you. Those against? 2 against and abstaining. One abstainer. Thank you very much. Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Do we have any more from neighbourhood? No recommendations?
I don't think that recommendation from the World Heritage Status Advisory Committee needs a decision of council because it was just completing a questionnaire.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Great. Is that the end of...
The climate change.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Is it on the... Sorry, you're quite right, yes.
Carry on. No recommendations. Committee would like to share some upcoming dates with Councillor. Oh, yes. I'll be talking about that afterwards, yes. But please do. Climate adaptation plan, and that is tomorrow.
That's tomorrow actually I think it's 10 till 3. And it's the Somerset Wildlife Trust who are going to be manning it, proposing it, doing it, and it would be, while some members of the council have been helpful in producing the plan, it would be really helpful if all members of the council could actually go and see an input into the plan, because this is a plan for Glastonbury. And obviously there will be members of the public too, we hope, will be at that open day. The Fixie Van Tech, we've already agreed it will be in the market, and that's going to be next Tuesday in the market. And all of our old tech old mobile phones, old leads, you name it, they want it and they can repurpose it. They can reuse it. Either they can upgrade it and update it to go to schools or to people in need, or they can take out the valuable minerals and have the minerals reused. So I'd advertise it so that lots of people get rid of all the old tech. You know, that bottom drawer where things get stuffed. So please do that. The next litter pick, I forgot to advertise it last time. We agreed, if you remember, to do quarterly litter picks. Steve Henderson said that that's what the council used to do. And so this one is coming up at the end of April. The Bridie's Farm, you're going to speak to that, aren't you, Indra? I'll let you do that in a moment. But first of all, let me talk to you about the reusable cups, which I've mentioned a couple of times. Moving on fast, what is happening with that? So Laura has spoken with all of the different cafes in town, and most of them, including the Crown Pub, are quite interested. Some, like Rainbow's End, don't, because they don't really sell takeaway coffee or anything like that. But those that do, most of them are quite interested. Now, Earth Fair are willing to buy in bulk, and cafes can then buy from them at cost price, so that they would be doing basically a favour. They could get the bulk, and then the cafes could get however many they want. If they were to have just the plain reusable cup, the minimum order could be 200, which they could cover. But if you remember, we agreed that we would support it. We wrote the letter in support, which Laura's been going around with. But we could have our logo on the cup. So, you know, supported by Glastonbury. And this would be, 2 or 3 of the cafes had said, this would be a real selling point for them. People would take them away as their souvenir Glastonbury cup. And I've said, it should also have reusable cup put on it so that people remember that they can reuse it. So these would actually cost, because they would get 2 sizes, 8 ounce and 12 ounce, so sort of small and medium, or medium large, however you want to see it. And they would need to buy 800 as a minimum. And they cost, so that would cost them over £1,000. Now, when I've talked with the different cafes, they are quite interested, but it would be quite nice for them if they could have a few cups free for starters, so that then as they sell the cups, then they build up their money to go and purchase more. So if this council would like to have the logo ones, I think it would be quite nice if we could support the venture with a grant of a few £100. And that then would go to Earth Fair for their purchase, and they could then give out a few for free to each of the different cafes, who would then, for instance, 100 Monkeys are going to want to buy 200 cups, but they could maybe get 25 for free out of that 200. Do you see what I'm saying? My Fine Deli want to only have 25 cups to start, to see how it goes. They want to see, are people going to buy these cups? The purchase price for the cups is going to be £1.26 or £1.30, depending on the size.
Nice.
But they would retail at £2 each. That would include VAT.
Great.
So they're quite feasible to buy your reusable cup when you get your coffee, and then you can reuse it at other cafes, and it costs you £2 initially. But to help the cafes get started, if we could give a small grant, that's what I would like to propose. It wasn't, this whole thing has been on discussion for months at the Climate Emergency Group, but we're really moving on now by seeing how many cups the different cafes want to have, and these details from Earth Fair as to the minimum order and the costs.
Thank you very much, Serena. I have a question, and then I think it was Councillor Cousins and then Councillor Napper. I love this idea, applaud it. I'm so glad it's happening. And not to denigrate the, are you talking about using the town council's logo?
That was that was one of the suggestions. The other suggestion was the tour.
Fabulous. I would kind of go with that. Much as I love the logo, and I think this is great, I'm not sure it kind of speaks to it. That would be my only point, is if, I think the tour would get a lot more people buying it, much as I love our logo. Yes, Councillor Cousins and Councillor Napper.
So I think if we had an image of the tour to hand, that would be good, or maybe we have some other branding that we could use. But I think it should, if we were going to contribute, I think it should say supported by Glastonbury Town Council, so that that's known. If we were to support it, does that mean that we would have our supported by on every one of the cups?
And that would be where the minimum order is 400 per size, so 800 minimum order. Yes.
I couldn't help note, but it appeared when we were looking at the budgets that we had an underspend around climate emergency, etc. So it feels that this could be an appropriate thing for the council to do, Your Worship.
I love when you find those underspends. Councillor Napper.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just wonder whether there would be a reduction in the price of a refill of the coffee if you were using the reusable cup.
I have asked the cafes and they can't do that, unfortunately.
Not even a penny.
Unfortunately, because it wouldn't work for them. It just wouldn't work for them. And also, it wouldn't work for them. I mean, there are places that do that.
Yeah, there are.
So I've got my own cup that I got at a festival some years back. And I went into Starbucks at Bristol Temple Meads and they gave me 5p discount or something like that. So, but I think they're a big enough venture and these cafes are too small. So I haven't asked all of them because Laura and I split it between us and I haven't got the data from her yet. I will do, but the ones that I've asked. So Burns of Bread are interested because they will do it here and in street. But of course, their street ones are going to be connected with whether they do street logos.
They could have the Glastonbury there as well.
Yeah, we support street.
Sure, will it?
But Burns of Bread are really quite interested as well in doing it. So they're not a cafe, but I've yet to phone Terry and talk through the details with him. But we're in process with that. But I thought I'd bring it to the council now,
that's
whilst
great.
we're still in process.
That's wonderful. And I think those cafes that do give money off will probably get more customers. Councillor Cook and then Deputy Lokabandu.
I don't know if I should be both, but when you mentioned that maybe putting the tour on as the logo for the mug, and it's going into quite a commercial operation, I mean, it could be quite a big thing. Wouldn't the owners of it, Heritage, what is it? National Trust, National Trust have something to say about that. They should be told first. I mean, that's a licensing thing.
No, it's not. They haven't copyrighted the tour. They haven't copyrighted the tour.
So the council uses the tour.
Yeah, everyone uses the tour.
Everyone does.
Yes. Yes, thank you. No, not a problem. Lovely. I think somebody did try to copyright the tour, but they were told not to go. Thank you, Deputy Lokabandu.
Well, anybody.
Thank you.
Personally, I'm agnostic on the question of reusable cups. But the question of what logo we put on that's going to be very important. I'm just aware we've hired a visitor experience manager who's doing a lot of work on branding of the town, including logos. So it'd be well worth talking to her before putting anything on our particular cup.
Put her in contact with me? Yeah, could you put her in contact with me?
Of course.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I felt there was a recommendation on the table for the cups for the budget underspend of the climate and ecological emergency.
The proposal is cups with logo.
Cups with logo.
And supported by
Glastonbury Council.
And reusable, etched onto them.
Yes.
And that this council will agree to give a financial support for the initial purchase to get the cafes up and running. And I would like to recommend the figure.
Well, I was going to recommend more money than that. I feel that the businesses that are embracing this very useful move towards reducing plastic pollution we should show our full support of that, and perhaps we should contribute more than £300. If it's £800 in total that I believe is being talked about, perhaps we could equal that with 50% of the funding from Glastonbury Town Council at £400. And that way we're also demonstrating our commitment to reducing the amount of single-use plastic. We all know, I mean, everyone's seen the Attenborough stuff, you know, this is dreadful pollution that we can avoid, and this is a great step towards making that happen. And I also think we should fully thank our advisory committee for this excellent idea.
Thank you very much. Yes, yes, Zoe, Councillor Zoe. Price.
I should imagine that this is something that we can sell in the information centre as well, so we would recoup money.
Perfect. Thank you. Great idea. Yes, Councillor Manning.
Query on the numbers. It was £1.26.
I'll put my finger. Okay. So the ones with the logo, yes, is 8 ounces 94, 12 ounces 98 plus lid at 32p. So that would work out at a total of 1,024 for the 800.
Right, so it's one. I've just got.
Sorry, it's
yes.
one other thing. Is that plus VAT?
Well, they don't have to do VAT because of that. But for the sale, it would be VAT, but not for the purchase. Because the cafe selling it with the coffee would have to include VAT, and that would be 200. I mean, they would have to then sell it £2.
Would we be giving the money to
because it's wholesale?
Is that
they don't have to.
That's kind of what I was. Yes. So Yes. So sorry. Thank you. That was a point. So I was going to say, who recoups the money? Who is recouping here? If we're giving even 400, the cups go out there. A few of the cafes get it for free, but what I'm hearing is we're giving Earth Fair money.
No, we're not giving Earth Fair money because they would be giving a few to each of the cafes that want.
Yes.
Out of what we have given them.
That's great.
That would be then a few free to each of the cafes to help as seed stock to help them start the process.
That's great. What happens to
but the cafes will then be selling them, which means that they will then build up a stock of money so they can then go back to Earth Fair and buy more. So Earth Fair will because they can get them in bulk.
No, that's wonderful. And I think you're about to complete what I'm thinking.
I think.
Yeah, go on.
Like if we're giving, let's say, 25 cups to, I don't know, 10 cafes, that's 250 cups. But if we're paying for 800 cups,
there we aren't.
How many? So we only need to pay, the money we need to give them is only the cost of the number of free cups that they.
Exactly. So we're doing is we're giving seed stock.
Thank you.
To enable the cafes to get started with it.
Yeah.
So that once they've started with it, they've sold each cup for £2. They've then got that money, so then they can go back and buy more.
But we're not giving any more money than the seed.
No. We're just seeding the process. We're just enabling the whole venture to get started as well.
Thank you. Yes, sorry. This is what happens when we go over 9 o'clock. We start. Thank you very much. Clarity has landed. So 400, I think, is a fabulous thing for advertising. Glastonbury, and for getting cups off the street. I would propose, yes, the £400 and the going ahead and the seed money. Seconding? Oh,
I can't
sorry.
second.
No.
Can I ask your worship where you think the money's coming from?
Right, yes.
Underspend.
So 300, we've got overspends.
Which one?
So we've got climate and emergency, and that's what, 300? Yes,
So your worship, when we were looking at the end of year summary, if the clerk was happy to pull that up, there was a budget for climate.
So it's
climate emergency and resilience.
So this budget line here, the vast majority. Oh, it's going to highlight everything. It's this amount of money here. The vast majority of that money is actually the resilience committee money. I don't know how much the Climate Emergency Advisory Committee has.
Well, it still has about 500.
Right.
So, your worship, this £4,925 was the figure or the green bit that I was thinking of when I suggested that.
Of course.
Use that budget, so long as the clerk is happy that that's not going to place us in any dilemma financially.
The problem is, Councillor Cousins, is it's not full council's money to spend. It's the Resilience Committee's money to spend.
It is. And yes, as there's members of Resilience Committee here, is that something, because I believe it is part of resilience, but I don't think we can do that until we come to committee. So do we drop the
Well, is there, would the clerk like to suggest another unrestricted fund that we could plunder?
Councillor Smythe?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Since the SEAC group has £400 at least, maybe it come out of the SEAC group for now.
I would say it could do, yes.
Yeah, and then
and then if we need exactly.
Point of clarity though, I did suggest that the clerk might be able to find a fund for us, and he has.
Might I suggest?
Oh.
So.
Sleight of hand.
Well, so I explained earlier how that amount of money has come about. That's money we weren't expecting to have. So ultimately, again, it's theoretical where the money comes from, because it's all pounds and pence in a bank account. It's just where you take it from in the accounts.
Your Worship, may I suggest a windfall to avert landfill?
And anyway, we're in a new financial year, so...
She's not fussy where she gets it from.
And anyway, we're in a new financial year, so it all equals out in the end. But wouldn't it be a good news story that it's something you pay for from an increase in bank interest?
Wow, the bank's paid
Smiling
for
all over
these.
my face at the thought of the bank supporting reusable cups. Brilliant.
Councillor Price.
Consider buying some for our
Sure. Yeah.
Can I just say?
Of course.
I've got some
please,
experience with this, because at the Chaniswell we actually had cups and they didn't sell at all. But I commandeered some, they gave me some because they didn't know how to get rid of them. And I brought them here to the information centre and we sold them in the morning.
Great. Well, I think
it
that
depends on the outlet, doesn't it?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a very good story. Wonderful.
If I may, I just want to say on that point, I personally think that's a great low-cost thing to have in the information centre, that almost anyone who walks in could say, oh yeah, I'm going to buy that. So I think that's a good idea, that we might actually order over and above what the minimum order is to have for next door.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Do we need to agree more funds for that then? Or we not?
I think, no, that's separate. That's not the town hall
There is
buying
money
that. I think that would be
this
the...
year's financial budget to purchase stock for the GIC, so it would just be a decision for the visitor experience manager, but I'll pass it on to her, and I can't see her disagreeing with me.
Brilliant. No, perfect idea. Fantastic. So,
Add GIC to the list.
Your
Lovely.
Worship, where are we with the proposal?
I'm proposing now that with this new funding, the bank's paying, and I think we're saying 400 to go forward with the logo, yet to be decided through our new visitor experience manager. Yes.
Your Worship, may I suggest that is all ironed out between...
Yes. Yeah.
Perhaps we just need to say that we are happy to support this endeavour with a grant of £400, so long as every cup has supported by Glastonbury Town Council and the appropriate logo.
Fabulous. Do I have a seconder? Lovely. Thank you very much.
Who seconded ours? Thank you.
Margaret. Lovely. Thank you. Move to vote. Supporting for. All in favour. Fantastic. All those against? All those abstaining? One abstainer. Thank you very much. That's very, very exciting. Thank you. Love it. Great. Was that?
Oh.
Yes.
Are there any times for the litter pick yet, Serena?
Sorry?
Are there any times?
So Earth Fair, so that they are in, they're happy to do the
Litter
first
pick.
fair.
Litter pick.
Litter pick. The litter picking
The
day.
litter pick. Oh, 10:30.
10:30.
I didn't hear you properly.
Okay.
I thought you asked the times about the cups coming out.
Thank
And there was Bridie's Farm.
Yeah, well, Bridie's Farm is as is up there. I don't think there's anything else I need to say about it. Open day, 10th to the 12th of May, film showing at the Red Brick Building in the evening of the 12th of May. Do come. Thank you. And support the Red Brick. Thank you. Great. Oh, moving on. Oh, gosh. Are we now on number 14?
15.
Oh, God.
Oh, my turn.
Yay.
Okay.
Nick Coswell.
Well, I'll
Thank
be
you.
quick.
Councillor.
You will receive the report, the major report from me today. Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is it one
Thank you. We love it.
No, good. That's the main thing. Now, local stuff, which is important, and you should be aware of, is that the leaking reservoir, which Ian will know all about, is causing problems all over the place, really. Nobody has accepted responsibility for repairing it yet, so I understand, but they will have to, because at some stage this year, this financial year, that whole road will be resurfaced. But it's pointless doing it if that reservoir is still leaking. And it's like it's pointless putting the potholes in because they just come straight out again at the moment. So that has got to be done. That's got to be an essential thing that we get. Somebody takes responsibility. I don't believe it's the people who recently purchased it. I believe it belongs to one of the water companies, shall we say, and that they'll be responsible. So I thought that was something I should make sure that you're all aware of, because you must see it when you ever drive out that way.
It's coursing back, isn't it? It's going down beyond.
Yeah, it goes on down, and it goes all the way around into Wick Lane, actually. The water that comes from there and causes problems. So I think that was one to be highly aware of. I can do this without giving anything away of people's names or anything. Ward work has been very busy this month, unfortunately. I've even got one now come from an 82-year-old lady who has been made homeless. So I've got to be looking into that one for her. She's had to go and do sofa surfing. And so the possible future MP for Glastonbury has sent it to me because obviously she can't really get involved here at the moment, shall we say, officially. So I'm going to be looking into that one and working on that one. But also some feedback that has come from the Benedict's ward, where we've interviewed a lot of people, way over 200-300 recently, is that the parking situation is down there is extremely bad, and you've got people blocking the the disability scooters where they come in and off of the things. People are blocking those as well. And now it appears that the enforcement people are not being as strict as they should be. Well, I'm going to, warning for Benedict Street livers, people who live in Benedict Street, I'm going to be getting on to the enforcement people to get them to be a lot more thorough down through Benedict Street, because it's obviously causing a lot of upset to a lot of people from the feedback that I've received. So that's important, definitely. And the homeless lady. And yeah, there's I just have a row, like every day, I'm having emails now about people in financial difficulties, shall we say, of one type or another. And it's getting quite difficult to deal with, to be honest with you, on my own. And but we get it done. And I've got help from my other colleagues who will help when need be, because I don't believe a lot of. How can I put this politely? Susie's not here to defend herself, so I'll be very polite. I don't believe a lot of people go to Susie.
They do, actually.
They do they?
Yes, they do.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, because if she's getting as much as I am, then I will be amazed at how much is going on bad in this our town. First thing, John, can I help you?
Well, I just wondered whether you were aware, you probably are, of Navigate, the debt charity. They, I can send you some details of them. They're very good at supporting people who find themselves in this sort of crisis.
I would very much like those details, John.
Well, absolutely, I'll get it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Smythe, Councillor Napper, and then Councillor White.
Okay.
Just to check, you completed your report. So I've got a question.
Have you completed your report? He has a question. Or would you like to
give me a
finish your
question.
report?
Give me a question, Mike. Yeah.
Thank you for it. But the question I have relates to beer lane traffic lights.
Oh yes, I can tell you about them.
I wondered how long you anticipate it might go on for.
Okay. As far as I know, with the beer lane traffic lights, because I've been involved with that a little bit, because I had a gentleman down in Redlands who's been keeping me well informed of how bad they are. It's all down to the insurance company.
Yeah.
Okay. And so once the insurance company sort themselves out, then we'll have traffic lights, because we've got to have traffic lights there because of Denise's old house.
Yeah.
What happened? So yeah, so we've got to wait on the insurance company. That's a quick answer to that one.
Thank you very much. Then it was, yes, Councillor Napper.
Thank you, Worship. Opposite down at Dye House Lane, there's a small green, and we had a fellow come down to say he was going to take the trees out from the council.
The council is not county council.
And I just wonder why they're taking the trees out, because over the Easter holiday, there was a caravan park there, and he's left so much rubbish, it's unbelievable. And
where exactly?
As you go down to the painted roundabout, and you turn
the mini roundabout goes down to Porchester Drove, is the one somewhere around there?
Yeah, if you go down to the painted road, no, not that one. Come off Backery by Glastonbury Bodyworks.
Oh yeah, I know.
Down to that one, and then if you turn right, right immediately on your right-hand side, there's a little grass there area.
I know where.
With me, opposite my old building.
Yeah.
And there was a caravan park there, and there's all sorts of meat packaging and everything left there. And I guess they were going to the toilet in the ditch.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why Somerset has asked this company to come and take the trees out.
What type of trees is it? Do you know?
Oh, it's scribbles and stuff, yeah. But they have willows and gribbles and all that sort of thing. But I just wonder why if they take them out, why we can't plant some nice trees in there.
Well, that would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Absolutely spot on.
So sure, yeah. If they take them out, then
I forget the company name that the guy came, and but it was a mess for a couple of days. But like I say, perhaps it's a place that we could plant some trees.
Yeah, I'll go along with that, definitely. Yeah, was it Mike? Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I read your report and thought it was really good. And I'm just wondering, those 12 electric buses that are going to Taunton, might we possibly have one here?
No.
Yeah.
What do we usually get? A bit of, we usually get the cast-offs, don't we? To be honest, not the ones that go to Bristol.
No.
But the ones that come from Taunton.
Yeah, no, it was saying like Taunton and all these routes. I'm saying, we want an electric bus. Thank you.
Actually, you've just reminded me of something else there, Mike, which I think that people should be aware of as well. There's been a little bit of confusion with the bus coming from Taunton and that goes up through, and it hasn't been doing Windmill Hill some of the time, which is not good. And because they told one of the passengers who got in touch with me that it was because there were too many cars. Well, there's going to be too many cars if you try to drive a double-decker bus up over above town, isn't it? Or even a single-decker bus. So somewhere, I'm a bit suspicious of why they're doing that. They've been doing it for a little while, and rather than coming up leg of mutton like it always used to be, and then down Old Wells Road. So I don't know. So John.
Well, a couple of years ago, I remember this rather fantastic double-decker going through above town with people who were cutting back from the top, open top bus. They were cutting it all back so that it was absolutely the right height for any bus going through. They come back the foliage as they were travelling slowly up through. It was quite extraordinary. So I wonder whether that's something that was done through the county council, or they were just desperate bus people who...
It must be desperate bus people, I don't know. But I'm going to look into it anyway, because it's I'm always suspicious with bus companies who say they don't make profits, and it might be easier for them to just drive straight from Glastonbury to Wells and on the way up and avoid the hill. So we're going to be looking into that one. Hopefully they'll have a rational explanation why they can't go the proper way. Right. Anything else?
I've got one thing. So, resident parking, you were saying, down Benedict Street.
Yes.
I remember about a year ago I was talking, if you put up the if all the street agrees and they have only parking permit only, so resident parking only, they can actually do that. If they actually all agree with it.
If they agree,
If they all agree. That might be an avenue to go down. And
Costs involved though, isn't there? And
I'm
you've got
happy
get a good consensus of opinion.
Yeah.
So I've got a
all
couple
of
of
the
other
above.
places where
So
people...
that might be something, but I'd be interested as a Benedict.
You're a Benedict councillor.
I am a Benedict councillor. So no, if there's a bit of joint work that wants to be done with that, because I think resident parking is good. Because Tiltwell Street, we're talking about it too.
Definitely, it came up. I could show you bits of paper.
No, I remember. Yeah, when we door knocked, that was it.
Yeah.
That and dog poo. Yes, Councillor
To that role, your Benedict councillor role, myself and Kim Von Coles are looking into doing exactly what you've just said for the St John's Square enclave.
Perfect,
and
thank
I
you.
think Susie arranged a meeting with somebody, with you, about St John's Square.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm up for a meeting, definitely about St John's Square.
So perfect. Then let's see if we can start it in one place or two places, and then let's see where it goes. Because I think
from there.
People in the town are suffering. They're not getting anything out of tourism. May I please just draw all our councillors to the clock? It is 9:30. I think we agreed that we, at this point, ask people vote if we want to go forward. If people need to or want to leave, they can. Yes, Councillor Cousins.
Chair, I propose that we continue with this meeting. When we asked for election, there were lots of other people who would rather be sat around this table than we are. So I think it's our duty to continue the meeting to the end.
Well, can we give it a time? So we'll say another 15 minutes and we will revise it in 15 minutes. Is that okay with people? Lovely, seconded. All in favour to 1:45. Fantastic. And then be revised.
Can we move on to verbal updates from other bodies?
Yeah. So moving on to 16. This shouldn't take long. So to receive verbal updates from representatives to outside bodies. Do we have any?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Perfect. Please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, Carnival Club. I'm afraid that I brought up last month about the entrance to the Carnival Club, and you so kindly said that I should bring a quotation in for it. I'm afraid that the meeting for the Carnival Club is tomorrow, so I'll try and get it back in for this week anyway.
Perfect. Thank you very much,
Your Worship?
Councillor. Yes, thank you, Connor.
I actually had a chance to go down to the Carnival Barns with Les, going to visit Common Moor the other week. We were having the reens cleared and we're investigating some tree planting that will happen. The state of the entrance to the Carnival Barns, in my opinion, is not in a very bad way. And the town council's got plenty of gravel that compacts nice and flat that we've used in our own land, that Les said if the Carnival Committee so wished, they could have a few wheelbarrow loads and it would fill in the potholes. But it's not in a very bad way. The roads are in a much worse condition and you travel much more quickly on the roads than you do driving into the Carnival Barns. I'll leave that with you, Councillor Cottle, Magdalen Street.
Thank you. It's not much to go for. If you'd like to take that back to the committee anyway,
I will take
tomorrow. Thank you very much.
I'll take it back, but I'll also
Lovely.
come back as well.
Yeah. No, please do. Thank you. Yes, Councillor White.
Okay, Town Deal. Most of you will have seen that finally the Abbey has started work. They've got their site vans just down here, the containers. Also, that Tor Leisure has now sort of fenced off the car park and they're just starting with the scaffolding. So that's quite good. And Dunstan House, as far as I'm aware, we're moving the staff mid-May. From GIC, etc., into the small hall. And as already has been said, this Saturday, Town Hall, Town Deal Open Day from 11 until 3.
Thank
So
you
all
very
of the
much.
projects will be there.
Perfect, thank you very much. Any more, please? Updates from representatives to outside bodies? No, thank you very much for those. Bring it right. Moving on, item 17, Mayor's announcements. I have just one, apart from obviously the tomorrow, please go to the adaptation, Act to Adapt it, the Rural Life Museum. So this is an event, it was the Glastonbury Volunteers Support Network. It's now we've taken over Glastonbury Support Network events. So this is basically in the town hall. Just take them if you need to, and put them up places if you want to. But this will be a whole day of organisations. I know it's on the same day as the Lick Pick, 28th of April. So there'll be organisations, volunteer organisations downstairs in the hall from 12 till 4, and basically people come in and it's learning about different volunteer opportunities. And the idea is we are going to need more volunteers later as things slide, as we are in a going to Somerset, and because we're in a, yes, thank you, services in emergencies. So this will be a way, hopefully, to fill these in. There'll also be demos and talks. So please do come, please do put this up, and please do any groups that you are involved in, any of your volunteer groups, it would be lovely to come along. I think that's all for Mayor's announcements.
Indra?
Oh, yes.
So it's on the same date and time as the litter picking, so
Yes.
come 10:30 to litter pick, finish litter picking at 12 and go into.
Wonderful. Well, you'll have, there's donations, food and cake, so we'll feed you. Thank you. And there'll also be workshops on fundraising and how to constitute your group. So please do, any volunteers and volunteer groups. Thank you. Correspondence, communications and announcements. Yes, Councillor Osborne.
I got a communication today from the Town Council because I am unfortunate enough to live in the High Street, and they sent me a letter that gave me all the days that the High Street was going to be closed, which was nice, except they missed off the Carnival and the Pilgrimage, which are probably the two biggest events. Now, I appreciate that the Carnival and the Pilgrimage do their own letter, but it would seem to me a sensible arrangement if you put all the things on all the times it's being closed on one letter and rather than three.
Thank you. Noted. Councillor Osborne.
Yeah, so I'll just mention briefly, the reason we put that letter out is to satisfy conditions in our own road closure application. I fully take the point that in future we could join up a couple more of those dots, but it's not something we do to let people know of every single road closure. It's to satisfy our own application, but I will certainly bear it in mind for next year.
Thank you, Connor. Yes, Councillor Cook.
Yeah, I brought up Abbey Park, the toilets and the graffiti up there back in February. Still there. I walk my dog there every day. So, of course, I'm meeting quite a lot of people. Not so many at the moment because of the rain. But having said that, there's still people who come up to me and say, well, how's it going? When are the toilets opening for this summer? And when are we going to get rid of the graffiti on the toilets and around the side? Okay,
thank you very much. So the toilets we don't own. We'd love to own them. I would like for us to own them. And the graffiti, yes, we would like to. Basically, they couldn't get the team and the water to get the graffiti off. So we're looking at a new way of doing it, which is getting the water over the wall from a house. So that's kind of in hand. But the toilets, I know, I'd love to. But hey.
Right. Who owns it now?
The Abbey.
Yeah.
It's, Abbey. Yep. Thank you.
Well, Somerset Council lease it, so they operate the park. But yes, it's Abbey ground. The ground is owned by the Abbey, but Somerset Council have a lease on it.
there's plans, or there's people that want to come forward for that, but more of that anon. Any more correspondence, communications and announcements? Thank you. Moving on to consider the items for news release. Did we think is it the cups, or is that too early?
Too early.
Too early. Okay, holding back on the
I
cups.
thought your event, Your Worship, would be a good
Yes,
opportunity to get the word out about via
yes,
our channels.
please. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
We'll
There
obviously take other suggestions as well.
No, thank you. Yes.
So Alderman Tucker's.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah.
6th of October.
Lovely. Any others from today? Gosh, it's been a...
Worship, I think those two are worthy and we should move on.
Thank you very much. Right, to review actions arising from this meeting. Thank you very much, Connor.
Your Worship, despite the fact that I use a 4-colour pen so I can go through and style my actions, I've neglected to do it this evening. I will continue to chase the public toilets. I will pass on your thanks to the responsible finance officer, and obviously Alderman Tucker's been here to hear the thanks for Frost Fair, but it will too go in the minutes. The event for the prostate cancer screening will go ahead, and the group will liaise with the town hall manager about which room they're in and the practicalities around that event. The risk assessment has been, and policy has been adopted. The steering group has been established, and I'll pass that on to the administration officer who's leading on that, Sarah Hallam. Thanks will be passed on to Kim Von Coles, and I love these. My action is to do nothing. I like that kind of action. In regard to the High Street planters, the South Wales Heritage Trust funding working group is yet to meet, so I will go along to that meeting if I'm able to. We're going to investigate getting a specialist in to guide us the most financially efficient way to run the GIC and the tribunal. Various recommendations were accepted. I will ask a member of the team to look at painting the peace pole. No doubt designing said leaflet for D-Day will be something I have to do, so I can crack on and have a look at that. We shall provide £400 for free reusable cups, and I will pass on to the visitor experience manager, perhaps piggybacking on that order to purchase some for the GIC and the tribunal as well. And to issue the news release. That's what I've got, Your Worship.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Releases, plural.
Thank you. Yes. Quickly.
Just one thing which I missed. That is for prostate cancer. That you see very often on the television.
Nice, thank you very much for that, Councillor Cockle. And with that, which I forgot, we're now got to pass a motion in accordance with public bodies, admission to meetings. So Act 1960 to amend by the openness of a local government body and regulations 2014, the press and public will be excluded for the following items due to the confidential nature and the business to be reacted. So thank you very much. That is, if we may ask.
I'm happy to second that proposal, Chair. Move to vote.
Move to vote.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Move to vote. Thank
We
you.
need to formally vote.
Thank you. Those opposed? Sorry, we're voting basically. Item 21, we've got to have a closed session